What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday afternoon to you guys. Happy Saturday afternoon. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning so far. We're here for NASCAR Cup practice and qualifying. That's right. It is on the NBC Sports app. So hopefully we'll get some more folks in here to watch it with us. 101 folks already here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today here on the Go at CeeLo. We bring you the best on the Go at CeeLo NASCAR coverage there is on YouTube. That's right, the best right here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting on? This is the place for you. We're trying to get to 23,000 subscribers today, or not today, but this weekend. And let's go to the Group A practice. It's Group A practice. Appreciate everybody hanging out here with us. Thanks so much for hanging with us. And let's go to the live audio. There we go. No audio? What's going on here? I don't get any sound here. Let's see. What's going on here?
You have to seize the moment.
Okay. They were having some issues with a mic or something. I'm not sure what that was all about. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, guys. We're going to be bringing you Group A practice. Stage left. Let me get rid of this right here. Group A practice from the Kansas Speedway. But what's up, Bronny? What's up, Richard? CT Whale, what's up? Good to see you. What is up, everybody? Jamie, what's going on? Miss, she said, I missed the race last night. Bronny said you just missed a Heim domination. What's up, Cyrus? Good to see you. Austin as well, and Dylan is here as well.
Rising in the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs as we welcome you to Kansas Speedway. Practice and qualifying about to get underway on a beautiful day here in America's heartland as the playoff drivers assess the competition and get ready to climb in their cars for some important practice time in the lead up to setting the field for tomorrow's Hollywood Casino 400. Now, here's the state of play after the first three playoff rounds, and we made the cut. And now we go through to the round of 12, and the drivers highlighted in red. They now are on the back foot, and they have
working
to
on the emojis
actually
here.
Go on the attack. They've got to be on the offensive. Hi, folks. Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton. Great to be back with you, fellas. Here we go. Cars roll.
Cars roll, and you said it the best. Regardless of what you did in the last round, as long as it was good enough to advance, you've advanced. Now, for some, they're ready for a reset. Denny Hamlin did not have a smooth first round. Daniel Suarez, who we're on board with right here, had a good first two races and really struggled at Bristol. But poor Alex Bowman, who had a monster first round, kind of all gone away. You know, use the points to advance, but that's all Alex Bowman did. Now he has to try to keep up this strong run. He scored points, Jeff, in every stage.
Ricky, good to see you.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Was on his heels a little bit coming into the playoffs. People talking about he may not have a job, and what did he do? He came out and showed everybody why he deserves it. But you said it, Steve. That's all great work in the first round.
Ty Dillon in that 16 today.
It's like a whole new season.
All Toyota drivers have bad luck on Sunday afternoon.
Busy with the Xfinity Series practice.
Kind of like Talladega last year.
I spent some time with Alex this morning with his crew chief, Blake Harris, and George Spencer, the chief engineer. And I said, fellas, when was the click moment? When did you click into this playoff form? They said,
it's on NBC Sports app.
We had some great mojo earlier in the year in May and June.
Not on a channel.
Vaulted us to that speed and that win in Chicago. And we feel like we're back in that momentum or that phase. Does that make sense to you now,
He's going to drive the 10?
How they're racing and how he's driving. And he said, look, it's hard to have fun in the Cup Series because it's so intense.
It's on NBC Sports app.
That we're in at the moment.
I think that's what you have to do. I agree that it's hard to have fun when there is this much pressure, but you have to just want the pressure. You know, I think it's Chase Elliott always says it's a privilege to race under this much pressure, and I think that's what the 48 team has done. All of that stuff you talked about, Jeff, job being on the line and all these question marks, I think it's galvanized this team a little bit. I think this organization, Blake Harris-led organization, kind of got the troops together and said, guys, we can only worry about us and what we're doing. Let's be the best version of ourselves, and that's what Alex Bowman and the 48 team
on NBC
for sure
Sports
did in that
app, y'all.
Look at this, first and second, Trackhouse speed, Chastain and Suarez top of the board. Bowman, Ty Gibbs, who one of those drivers who's now out of the playoffs, now just bumped down to fifth. Well, while Bowman
What's up, Ronnie? Good to
is
see
the
you.
only one out of
Corey
the
as well.
16 who never had an issue in the first
Chastain on
round
top
of
right
the
now.
playoffs. It's also a positive story for one of his 3 other Hendrick Motorsports teammates, Chase Elliott, Jeff, coming off a really good Bristol. He's kind of like he was the quiet achiever there. He was just sneaking his way through the field, had a great runner-up spot, and he is right in the thick of this.
Well, he's had a very quiet run to this championship for sure, and that's not all bad. I think certainly this team wants a little more speed. They need a little more speed, but from a consistency standpoint, from an experience standpoint, this team could get hot, and this team could be a threat. Now, they've got to find some speed in my eyes if they want to contend for a championship, but at the same token, I think they're capable.
I agree with your assessment.
What's up, T-Man? Good to see you, buddy.
And I don't think this is the round where they have to find the speed yet. I think with Talladega and the Roval, I think if you can run top 5 here and you can survive Talladega, that's enough. In that round of 8, Jeff, I think they have to have that speed you kind of alluded to, which isn't far off.
What do you do here, Jeff, as a driver? We know that the wall runs and that high line is preferred here at Kansas, but early in this session, you're going to utilize your 20 minutes of practice.
Hit that
do you go
subscribe
high
button
first,
if you're new.
get a feel for the car, and then work your way down and see or try and tag in behind somebody else and see if it works on that lower line? What would you do as a driver here in this session?
You're going to see these guys qualify on the top. You're going to see every lap they run, they're going to try to run on the top. There's just more grip up there. So your majority of the time, they're going to run at the top of the racetrack. However, at some point tomorrow, you're going to have to run in the middle. You're going to have to run the bottom. You're going to have to pass somebody. You're going to have to do something different. So even though I know the top's better, at some point, I'm going to find myself to the bottom. I need to understand what my car does down there. I don't need to learn that tomorrow. I need to learn that now because I need to tell my crew chiefs and my engineers, okay, this is what I got on top. But on the bottom, I'm going to need this. But for right now, you're trying to learn your race car, and I just think you want to be just up against the board.
Keep hitting that like button
Time to say good afternoon to Kim Kuhn. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Lee, and as you guys are talking about running the high line here, and we're looking at Denny Hamlin, I asked him what his strength is here at Kansas, because he called it one of his best race tracks, and he said, I can run the same time in multiple lanes. He said,
Patrick,
their car
should be on USA, not an app, I know.
He noted most everyone can run the top lane fast,
Larson,
but
Benny,
what
what's
can they do in the other grooves, and that's where he feels like the strength is. But after the first round, he also said, we have to be on offense from the start of this practice through this entire round.
This is one of Denny Hamlin's best tracks, as Kim mentioned. Let's take you back in time and back to quite a controversial moment up against Kyle Larson. Check this out. Hard racing, good hard racing. You might not call it good if you're a Larson fan, but if you're a Hamlin fan, you like that moment. And Denny slips through and goes on to take victory. Now, to that point, keeping that in mind and keeping the early part of this 2024 season in mind, Steve,
GD Vibes,
of late, we have not seen the 11 and the 5 close together on track and racing hard in these playoffs.
Yeah, we've kind of just lacked that head-to-head battle that has become so familiar. And I think this is the stage where we could easily see it again. You see on the bottom, Kyle Larson looking on. He's in the second group that we'll see practice in just a little bit. I think they're both, you know, Larson kind of
that like button for us.
Put his name on the top with that dominant win a week ago at Bristol. For Denny Hamlin, he's looking for anything but what happened in that first round. While he was able to advance, and he did it with a solid run at Bristol, the first 2 races were kind of messy. I think this 11 car is looking to go more on the offense.
Jeff, what about last week for Daniel Suarez? It was a matter of survival in the points. They knew right from when they rolled off that they did not have the speed at Bristol Motor Speedway, and he snuck into the round of 12 by his chinny chin chin. Well, just got there.
He did, but it goes back to the work that they did in the first 2 races.
Trying to get to 100 likes, y'all. Help us get there.
The round that built him enough of a cushion where they could have that kind of day. And at the same time,
got a 5 or 2.
You know,
nice.
That's not how you
comes
want to
with
do
old
it.
age,
and
man.
Certainly expose some weaknesses that they
NBC
have, and they got to go
Sports
work
app.
on. And you know, he came unloaded here with good speed.
Live from the hotel.
Lap 11 speed isn't what it needs to be compared to some others, but good speed taken off. But
Suarez,
you hate to advance
P2
like that because you kind of had to play defense all night, and you know, to run 30th all night is certainly not confidence building, but they got done what they needed to get done.
let's remind you on what the first round of the playoffs looked like for this guy. He got that brilliant runner-up in Atlanta. He rallied to 13th at Watkins Glen, and it was a wild night in Bristol, Steve.
A wild night just because the 99 didn't have the pace. Mired back, laps down most of the night. He had
predicting a first or second place finish for Blaney, Ricky says.
Daniel Suarez couldn't beat Cordial. He had no choice but to battle, and in the end, I would say performed well enough, / got a little lucky because the 19 and the 54, the two Joe Gibbs cars that had a chance of eliminating the 99, had the road issues, both actually speeding on pit road.
20 minutes, Kimberly.
And I agree,
minutes.
Jeff. Sorry, Lee. I was going to say I'm looking at the lap times here, Jeff, and I think
11 minutes
for the first 3
left
or 4
in
laps,
this Group
but then
A.
from about lap 5 on, if I look at who I think is the best, which is the 9:48.11, it looks like Suarez needs 10th and a half, 2 tenths to their lap times.
Ty Gibbs in the Monster Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing was one of those 4 drivers eliminated last Saturday night, and he kind of was biting his tongue post-race. The most he could get out was unfortunate. Frustrated by the way things went down, but he did put his hand up, Jeff, and he said, the speeding penalty on pit road, that was on me. That was my fault, and kind of coincidentally, ironically almost, it was also the same thing that brought his teammate at JGR, Martin Truex Jr., undone.
Well, certainly
2 speeding penalties.
This hampered their opportunity to be successful. However, they did get their track position back. He did a great job of driving the car back and getting some of that track position, if not all of it. And then late in the race, they just weren't good enough. They were, a few points away, Steve, from getting done what they needed to get done, and then they started falling back and losing some speed. So, yeah, the penalty hurt them for sure, but getting away from them late in the race, I think, was even larger than just the penalty.
You hate this style of qualifying. I just hate the whole, Group A, Group B
Jeff,
in the final round.
You
That's
talk
what I
about
hate.
Getting away from him
It's
at
on
the end of that Bristol race.
NBC Sports app.
Right rear, and talking with Chris Gale throughout the course of the weekend, that was something that they had tried to instill in him, managing those tires over the run. So yes, the speeding penalty put them behind,
SVG's
but
not
ultimately
racing
it was
Cup this
the
weekend.
collective race that just wasn't good enough. This team, though, still looking for a win this season. Ty Gibbs has been close to that first Cup Series win, and Chris Gale telling me that is their absolute #1 priority, is winning before the end of the season. And that was going to be the case in or out of the playoffs. He said if we were still in the playoffs, we were not going to win a championship without winning a race. So that is still the #1 goal right now. Ty, the team telling him to use less brake in 1 and 2. They're giving him information. That is what his teammates are doing, trying to instruct him.
I don't know.
To get
So
around
weird.
This racetrack.
YouTube's weird, man.
Just over the halfway mark through this first group.
Brandon Jones is on the pole for the
practice
for
at
Xfinity.
Kansas Speedway as we pick up the Kubota Chevy for Trackhouse. And this is Ross Chastain, who has really pieced together some good results of late. Yes, not in the playoffs like his teammate Daniel Suarez, but the last 4 races have yielded 3 top 10s, 2 of them being top 5s. He's on a nice run at the moment.
Well, look, I think this team, we all had super high expectations coming into this year.
Lloyd.
Not the year they wanted, I think by any means, but they haven't quit, and we have seen some speed from them lately. And they have been making improvements, and that's really, for this team, the one
looking pretty good at practice so far.
This year is about is what can we do to help the 99 car, and the biggest thing you can do is help them develop faster cars, right? And the faster the 99 car is, the better chance he has of making the next round of playoffs.
He's not running the rope.
This one car, in my eyes, has been better the last several weeks.
I don't know where Butterfly is. He'll show up eventually. If not, it's okay. Ooh, NBC Sports having some audio issues.
I'm not sure what he was battling, but he ran just a few laps and came to pit road, giving us a great look right here with this Toyota.
Thank you, Marcos, for subscribing. Appreciate that, Marcos.
Wait till we get about 30 laps on the tires on Sunday afternoon, and you're going to see as close to the wall as you
There's only 20 cars.
Example, right?
This is Group A.
There's
only 20 cars.
Fresher air. Once again, fresher tires in the 48. The 48
Larson's
working
in
lap
Group
21. The 45 working lap 12.
Tyler said last week at Bristol, it was solid. We got the most we could out of it. It wasn't great.
So Group A, Group B. Last week they did it all together because there was no rubber on the track.
Where we qualified, we were kind of stuck. And Jeff, you and Steve used that phrase a lot last week. It was difficult to progress and to push forward.
Yeah, it really was. You can see right here, he's a little stuck behind Bowman, right? Steve, explain how much
7 minutes left in Group A here. What's up, Jake?
But still, right here in the middle of the corner,
Keep hitting that like button for us, trying to get to 100 likes, y'all. 300 in here. Reason we can't have 100 likes.
48 just drives away from him, and that's what's so difficult about making passes at this racetrack. And when that top gets fired off and it's just better than everywhere else, how do you make these passes? So that's where qualifying, pit stops, everything you can do to get track position, that's why it matters so much, Kim.
Yeah, and as we look at Chase Elliott on pit road, he thinks he is down a cylinder. That car sounding a little bit sour when he brought it down pit road, so not a good start to the first race of this round, but better to find something early than in the middle of the race.
Yeah, the challenge will be that if they do have an engine issue, we won't be able to qualify, and they'll have to start at the back.
It's cool how each car has a NASCAR official watching what they do.
Trying to listen,
just checking everything, making sure they don't do something they're not supposed to do.
Right? It's just no different than bringing your car to the dealership, Diff.
The 44 and the 84, yeah, Jimmy Johnson in this race. He's in Group B.
That's right.
How about this guy talking about momentum and good results? Carson Hocevar in the 77 for Spire Motorsports.
So Daniel Hemrick,
we continue to
did
mention
he lose his
the
ride
positive
then?
momentum for this
I don't remember him going
group.
anywhere.
As a racing organization, yes, there's a little different look because Justin Haley is in the 7 this week and will be for the remainder of the season and going forward into the new racing year. As Corey
He's in Group B as well.
Has done that seat swap, so to speak. He's over at Rickway Racing, but Hocevar continues to impress.
Staying, it's on NBC Sports app.
With each and every race in this 2024 season.
Yeah, Hocevar and the entire organization. Cars are faster, drivers doing a nice job. Hocevar has a couple starts here at Kansas. He finished 20th in this race basically a year ago, and I think it would not shock me or even the garage if the 77 is able to improve that effort.
5 minutes to go in practice in Group
A.
A.
Year standings by some 56 points. He's had a top 3 finish.
Old Willie
Started
B.
on the front row. He qualified well last week as well. As we go to William Byron, who really feels, Jeff, that a good result could come here at Kansas.
Well, this team
almost picked
Willie
B
for
the win. What's up, Leo?
Get themselves to Phoenix. They'll have a real shot. I really believe their maturity, the ability to take everything they've learned in these last few championship battles.
I think it's going to be a Toyota.
I just think this team becomes more and more dangerous as these playoffs go along. And William has the capability of having kind of those Jimmy Johnson type days where he's just faster than you, right? And I think this team
he's always the wild card.
But
no matter how good they are,
you got to put it together. The same way we talked about the 9 and Chase Elliott. You can have the ability, but what matters now in the playoffs is the results.
Well, he won 3 of the first 8 races on the season. So that's that streakiness that Jeff talked about, Lee. And, you know, if the 24 runs like they did in the summer,
it's on NBC Sports.
I'm concerned. If the 24 runs like they did in the spring of the year.
Becky. What's up, Becky?
And I feel very confident.
Becky, what's going on?
Not sure which 24 we're going to get every week.
There's been a lot of talk about how the drivers and crew chiefs approach each and every race within the playoffs, whether it be in the opening round, which is now done.
Yep, until Corey LaJoie wrecked
12, the second phase. And William Byron said earlier this week on Sirius XM
always
NASCAR
welcome,
that,
guys.
yes, I do have
right
some
here.
points in mind, right, like every other driver does. But he said, how about we approach Kansas like go out there and have a good day? And if you go out there and have a good day, then the points, you know, as a consequence, not a consequence, as a product of that, a byproduct of having a good day,
on the pole,
you're going to accumulate those points naturally. So I'm focused on the bigger picture, and let's get our car to roll off well. He has got good 10-lap average pace at the moment. He's the best in the field on 10-lap average. So we'll see what kind of a weekend it's going to be for William Byron in the 2014.
He's got about 10 laps less tires than the 11 car in front of him.
They are
running it down. 16 car Ty Dillon.
Almost picked Ross Chastain this week too.
This morning that you may have seen. This man here, we're going to see around a whole lot more next year.
Trying something different.
And he will be behind the wheel of the 31 for the 2025 season. It'll be the number 10, so the 31 of Daniel Hemrick
Yeah, it'll be a rebadge, basically. When I read the announcement, what I saw is he's taking over what is currently the 31 ride.
Yep.
But Colleague is going to turn the 31 number kind of back over to NASCAR, and they're going to ask for or be reassigned. I don't know the right terminology. They're going to run the 10 car number. So I assume that means we're going to see the 10 and the 16 out of the Colleague camp. I think that's the 2 car numbers we're going to see. But either way, Ty Dillon's going to be behind the wheel of one of them.
Good news for Ty.
Yeah, and a good opportunity for him to get back into the Cup Series full time. And he's at that point in his career, Steve, where, this is the time.
Daniel Hemrick,
he needs to deliver, needs to find a way to have some success. He's had some opportunities in Cup, and this will be a very, very important time in his career to prove that he can get it done. And it's a lot of pressure. It'll be a lot of pressure on him going into the year, and but at the same time, a great opportunity.
Good idea, like dislike.
And you saw in that split-screen shot, Daniel Hemrick in the South Point Chevrolet. No news from Daniel just yet on what 2025 looks like. We climb aboard the South Point machine. Let's go for a little ride.
Anybody can D&Q. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, that's not right. I'm sorry, Delta. I mean, random.
How they run that part throttle on corner exit.
You're riding along with Daniel Hemrick, who's what you're listening
to. A safe pair of hands, Jeff. This guy here has completed more
I don't think Junior wants
than any
that.
driver in the field this year. So his completion percentage.
I don't think Junior wants.
So you want a safe pair of hands? You're looking at him.
Well, I tell you what else is their pace is pretty decent right here on this long run.
I hope Denny Hamlin, Cyrus.
Well, another driver who is no longer in the playoff field, but will be on the racetrack. The 21 of Harrison Burton, a little bit different paint scheme. Menards colors on the side of the 21. News last week was announced he'll be driving in the Xfinity Series full time.
I can't show the broadcast. It's illegal, man.
Looking to finish up strong in these last 7 weeks. All of these drivers that get kicked out of the playoffs, knocked out or eliminated, remember why they are in the top 16 in points. Whether you finish 16th or 14th or 12th, that has some financial implications. So the 21, much like the 6 of Brad Keselowski, they're still out here racing for a lot because, first of all, wins. Everybody wants to win. But if you can't win, any point that you score can help, as we see Brad slide.
Brad sliding to get on pit road.
Working on getting on pit road.
I think we're going to see some green flag pit stops on
Some
Sunday.
people, they don't care about that. They just keep on doing it anyways, and they get away with it.
That looked kind of fun.
It did. So that's the first portion.
I'm not one of those
practice
people.
Complete. Group 2 coming up. Watch the 6.
Yeah, you see he's trying to turn. The car's unloaded. And these cars, Steve, are, under these green flag pit stops, they tend to have a lot of rear brake in them. And turning the car, coming off the banking, all of those things. And Denny Hamlin riding on board with him, trying to get on pit road. I'm not going to make it.
Denny was like, nope,
what you do as a driver is you find a visual. For me, I use the billboard on the outside of the racetrack. So there's billboards all along the outside. I'd pick one of them, and I'd tell the spotter, hey, I'm going to that one. And so when we would get ready to, Geico or Xfinity, that's my spot. And I would tell my spotter, okay, there's my spot. When I get to that, remind me a lap before I pit, and then remind me down the back straightaway. Remember where your spot is, and that's where I would start to make my approach to get onto pit road.
I don't know. We all thought you were going to go to Trackhouse.
But not too much.
So that's getting to pit road.
No,
How
NASCAR,
about
this
getting
is qualifying.
to the finish line and the checkered flag? The closest ever finish in NASCAR Cup Series history.
All right, so now we're in Group B.
Between Kyle Larson and Chris Buescher. So we're going to show you a flashback, though, across the closest finishes. Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we were talking about that not that long ago as Daniel Suarez got there. That was by 0.003 of a second.
We're going to, I'm going to buy YouTube
at
TV.
Both Darlington and Talladega.
Unfortunately.
We showed you this just a few weeks ago as well. Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch. And then back to 2011, Talladega. 0.002 of a second. And then now to this one that I was just mentioning. Earlier this year, in May, 1,000th of a second. That was it. Crazy.
Closest finish.
And actually getting off the plane yesterday, at Kansas City Airport. Nice to see a big billboard highlighting that so proudly, that Kansas Speedway holds that record in NASCAR Cup Series history. Crazy finish. What's the potential of seeing a wild finish here tomorrow? I would say it is quite high.
Random says, I like RCR and threatening calling.
I
get
finish.
To get
they
Dylan
roll off,
a receipt.
ready to start their portion.
Well, I don't know the likelihood, but there was a lot of conversation about the start-finish line.
The only way I could do it, though.
Kansas Speedway an A+ job right here, because that start-finish line is crisp and clean and neatly painted.
You didn't like the look of the other one back in May?
The one in the spring. So to be
clear, that photo finish.
While the start-finish line is the reference, the decision
pretty good photo
is made
finish.
by
It made
a
my vlog.
high-speed camera that's over off pit road, much like you're well aware.
Keep hitting that like button for us.
You know, the 100-meter from the
Trying to get
Olympics.
to 100 likes.
But we want the fans at home to be able to have their opinions, so they can have
Keep
a
hitting that subscribe as well.
Start-finish line. There's a look at the high-speed cameras in redundancy. Actually, there's a couple of them. And that matters because that line,
so the top 10 this group goes to qualify rounds?
You could be scored in the
Everybody
grass,
goes to the qualify rounds.
on pit road, on the racetrack. Like, you know,
Group
it's a
B is going to
continuous
practice
line
now.
all the way across the grass to pit road.
They just haven't changed the
All right,
drivers
let's go.
yet.
Group 2.
Oh, that's right.
Same rules.
I forgot.
20 minutes
They
of
don't do that.
practice, and then we'll reset and get going in qualifying.
And earlier today, the first group of the Xfinity cars was much faster than the second group.
They add everybody. I
think
forgot.
just the track heats up, probably loses a little bit of grip. We'll see if that's the same today.
And we'll see if the same trend from Group 1 continues. That is a very Chevy-heavy top of the speed charts, with the Trackhouse duo of Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez.
And he didn't have a good
being
practice
the
at
quickest
all.
two. Carson Hocevar, then Alex Bowman. Ty Gibbs, the best of the Toyotas, in 5th. So as we get going in Group 2, we will see.
Yeah, it's a
Reigning
20-minute
series champ,
practice,
Ryan
and then they
Blaney
have
on
qualifying for Group A and Group B. What happened to the 5? He's just starting his qualifying. Let's
talk more about Team Penske. Here's Kim.
And he's moving up.
Yeah, and as we talk Kansas, we always have to talk about the wind. Now, I hate the wind. I only want wind
Larson's
if I'm on a
already
sailboat, but I can
in
assure
3
you
laps, 6
the
fastest.
teams definitely don't like the wind because it can affect the handling of the race car. Before Joey Logano took to the track, here was the conversation on the team radio as they prep for their practice session.
Paul, which way does it say the wind's blowing? It feels like it's coming from my back to turn 2, but that flag over in 1 showing from like 2 to the front stretch, so I wasn't sure.
So you hear the conversation as they prepared for their practice session. When we kicked off green for session A, a lot of conversation that there was a headwind down the backstretch. Big gusts here and there definitely will affect the balance, but lots of teams telling their drivers the forecast shows about
the subscribe, y'all. Keep hitting that subscribe. Keep hitting that like button.
Today. So
we're over 100 likes. Let's go to 200 likes now. 200 likes is our new goal.
To manage what they're feeling in the race car when they get those big gusts.
Well, I think the key is the knowledge that the wind exists. So then the driver,
because you're paying for it to watch on TV, Patrick.
You know, or the direction. You see the American flag kind of right off the in-car camera there.
If I just took it off of TV and put it on my channel, that's illegal.
Backstretch. And the reason why the wind matters is we talk a lot about arrows. We saw a hand out the window for Joey Logano.
I'm taking someone else's work and putting it on my channel.
No, I think he's just being thanks for somebody who let him go down the backstretch. But
when we show the cams on NASCAR.com,
the balance of the race
that's
car,
on NASCAR.com. It's not a broadcast.
Into a headwind, and there's an extra 15 miles an hour of air speed. That is a huge percentage increase in downforce. More importantly than the increase is when you're driving into a tailwind, Jeff, then you have a huge decrease in downforce because of the air speed.
And as a driver, you have to recognize those things, because there's nothing that my team can do to make my car drive the same in both ends of the racetrack if the wind's blowing in one direction or the other. So I have to make that adjustment. I need that information. I need to know, okay, which way is that wind blowing? And then I need to understand that with the wind blowing right at my nose, I can drive the car deeper into that corner. But when
that's
it's
the
my rear bumper, I have to
right
lift
there.
earlier. And if I don't do those things, I don't care what setup's in it. The car is not going to drive the way it needs to drive.
DJ.
I didn't say that when I was a driver. But
I was recording all of that. I just wanted it on record.
I get kicked out of the drivers union if I said.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble.
Yes, we saw a lot of.
I mean, I could watch it for free too, but I want the audio to come into the thing.
Unbelievably dominant performance.
So that's
at
what
Bristol
I'll do.
Motor Speedway,
because I want it on the
leading
stream.
all but 38 laps. Incredible, and that historical
Chase
nugget
Elliott,
in front
he is
of
in
Mr.
Group
H.
A, so he's not practicing anymore. He had some issues on pit road.
lead more laps in a single race than anybody in Hendrick Motorsports
Right now,
history.
Kyle Larson,
What a moment.
fastest in Group B practice with Truex Jr., Bell.
Hey, you know, he dominated.
Zane Smith and Cindric.
You know, it wasn't a great race. Well, can we just stop a minute and appreciate
what he did?
Yeah, like it was. That's as a driver and a team, when you can do that and you can put as many people a lap down as possible. Everybody races the same rules.
Stacey.
Everybody had the same opportunity, but we did it. We kicked their butts. Plain
triple
and simple.
header today.
Is that easy to understand? And that's what we watched Saturday night, was dominance by a driver and a team and a pit crew. They dominated, and we should stop and celebrate that, not complain about it in my eyes.
Yeah. Let's take you back just a week ago. What a night it was. Incredible. And had his young son Owen there, who got to do the victory ride around with Dad.
We could have showed you the whole highlights, but there was 460 looked just like that lap. I'll give you a little hint. Although I will admit, the ride with Owen, while it was awesome, I wanted to give him a little bit more of something to hang on to than those roof rails. Yeah, you had me nervous.
I needed the guy saying, make sure you buckle, you know, before this ride leaves, make sure you're all buckled up, right?
Yeah.
It was a little nerve-wracking.
Cliff Daniels, crew chief of the 5. Super proud of that.
Think Kyle Larson go back-to-back wins?
Has
Good
his
possibility.
driver as the number
Where's
one
Kyle
man
Busch?
heading into this, the round of 12.
There he is, 33rd fastest.
And so too, still in the
33rd
playoffs.
fastest. He is in Group
and
B.
still displaying great consistency. First
As
two
you see,
races
Kaz Grella put
in the
22
opening
laps.
round,
He's in Group A.
10th and 10th. Then 13th.
JJ
and Steve,
Gelly.
that 13th for
Gelly,
Austin Cindric came
is
from a
the slowest car in
beyond
the
20th
field right now.
position starting spot. So really good, determined run at Bristol to show good consistency for the Team Penske driver.
Great consistency. I have two concerns. The first is that I don't think the finishing numbers tells the tale, right? The tale is really how many points can you score. And I think you need to run better than 10th, 10th, and 13th. You need to be up inside the top 10. Now, I believe the 2 has that ability at times. That's the second concern. The second concern is 10th, and 13th. Is
Channel
that their ceiling?
19.2 on the CW if you're watching on regular
for the
TV.
round of 16. And I think
that
it
doesn't
might
help
even work
me
in the round of 12.
to bring it
But
into
Jeff,
the stream.
as you mentioned
I
it with the
can't do
9
that.
car
So.
earlier in this practice about needing that speed to win. For Cindric, I want to see a 10th turn into a 7th, or a 13th turn into maybe a 13th place finish, but we scored top 5 points because we ran well in the stages. Now for Cindric, I think, why not? Good road racer, always good at the speedways. And so far here today, right, he's 5th of this group. I actually don't hate the 2-car speed.
And Steve, I guess the question for Cindric is, what is a successful playoff?
There's Cindric in 18th.
I don't think they have the same. I don't. They won't admit this.
There's
but I don't
Blaney
think
in
they have the same
27th. He just hasn't ran enough laps yet.
Right. So if they could get into the championship
at
four,
20th.
make the next round, I think that's an extremely successful playoff for them based on their regular season. So I think they brought their best to the playoffs. Question, you're exactly right, Steve. Are they at their capability? Are they maximizing? Because that's not going to get done when they want to get done, but it could get done and maximize their opportunity.
What's up?
He is a young driver.
8 is giving up.
And that could be a successful playoff for them.
Are enough people talking
I understand,
about
Cole, but I
this man
can't bring
here,
that
the
into the
driver
stream.
of the Ream
I can't do
Toyota
that.
for Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell. He is the only one of the playoff drivers to score 2 top 5 results in the opening round of the playoffs. Steve, are enough people talking to him or paying attention?
Well, I don't think people are talking about him because they know they're going to talk about him a lot in the round of 8 and maybe in the championship 4. I think he is just a foregone conclusion to some media members. Now, that's not how the sport works, and the other 11 drivers could care less how well he ran in the first round. But you talk about ceiling, Jeff. We don't question the ceiling of this guy because Christopher Bell, Adam Stevens, they could go out and not just run top 5 in a couple races. They could win.
No, not during the
races in a
NASCAR
round.
stream.
They have proven it. And for that reason, I think his whole
People don't
career
wanna hear
maybe
that.
isn't talked about enough. But I think we're going to have a lot of races to talk about him because I don't think he's going anywhere.
Well, he's been in the championship 4
Gotcha.
each of the last 2 years.
Understand.
He won Phoenix in the
What
spring.
channel's it on? Beast.
Last
It's
year,
on
they had the
NBC's
mechanical failure.
Sports app.
Knocked them out of the race, and they're hungry. And to your point, Steve, they're more than capable. But you got to in this format, you have to be right at the right time. period.
10 minutes left in Group B practice.
If you can't be right at the right time, and that means the key moments when they are in trouble in these playoffs, and it will happen to everybody.
Larson,
Truex,
Bell.
How do they respond to bad days? How do they
Zane
respond
Smith,
to bad issues?
Cindric,
And then,
your top 5.
if you can dodge all that and you get to Phoenix, how do you respond
in
on
Group
that
B
day? Because if you don't, then you can't get done what you don't.
You need to know where a driver is, just ask. I'll scroll to him.
You have to step up at these huge moments, and you have to minimize the bad days. Denny Hamlin
Jimmy Johnson's the slowest car in
had
Group
a bad
B.
day, but he on that last restart went and got some points that weren't there for him before. That had a huge bearing on how he could approach Bristol. Even though he wasn't great, it helped him a great deal. And he took a bad day and made it a little less bad, and that helped him when he went to Bristol. And this team will have to probably do the same thing at some point, as they all will in the playoffs.
With 9 minutes left in Group 2 practice, Kyle Larson heads Group 2 and is just marginally slower than what Ross Chastain was in Group 1. Hey, look who is back. The 7-time champion, Jimmy Johnson, for the Legacy Motor Club Group. The 3-time Kansas winner back on track. And it's always good to have Jimmy back.
Always fun to have Jimmy in the field. I'd love to get his honest opinion on the transition to this next-gen car. We see him go IndyCar racing, back in NASCAR, but a very different NASCAR, both in the type of races I watch, the aggression out the window, but also the type of vehicle he's sitting in. Right, this next-gen car, completely different tire feel, wider tires, shorter sidewall, different chassis setup, aerodynamics couldn't be any more different than the old car he used to drive. Kim, what are you hearing about the 84 with old 7-time behind the wheel?
I haven't heard any feedback on what the car is doing, but just to your point about what this means for Jimmy running part-time, I've spent quite a bit of time over the course of the year with him when he is at the racetrack, and he described it as so challenging. When you're not in the car every single weekend like the rest of the field, it is just an uphill battle. You know, they make adjustments, and then they get to the racetrack. 5
Bowman
races
was
later,
third
he's back in the car,
fastest
and
in
they're
Group
going
A.
the wrong direction. And the best description I was given from the team is running part-time is like a slow-moving ship. There's forward movement, but inches at a time instead of big leaps like the rest of the team. So maybe some unfair expectations we put on 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson when we see him on track.
7th fastest in Group A.
7.5 minutes left in this practice session. Before we turn the page and go into qualifying mode, here is the Gainbridge Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. And no,
look at
it's
Justin
not
Haley.
Corey LaJoie. It's Justin Haley. Remember, that was announced last weekend in a press conference in Bristol Motor Speedway. And so Haley is back with Spire, and this is where he's going to stay for the foreseeable future.
You see right there, I circled both the 71 and
Show
the
us how it's
4th
done,
and 6th.
Justin Haley.
We had Hocevar 3rd, so another great showing for Spire. I'm really curious to see how Haley runs in this car.
Do you have the best 10-lap average?
Motorsports has one Cup win, and it was
That's
by
on
this guy right here.
1 second.
Daytona. Rain shortened race, he got it done, and that was part of.
Kyle Larson has the
my
best
eyes,
10-lap average right
building of
now.
Spire
Chase
Motorsports,
Elliott,
right?
Austin
Kinda put 'em on the
Cindric,
map and
Justin
think about what they've
Haley,
done since
William
then.
Byron.
It's starting to get to the point where it's not unusual to see them running in the front. Good speed here again today.
Let's not forget Rodney Childers, right? So we're going to have Rodney Childers.
Who was the closest hat to put on?
Racing, who is doing a heck of a job, by the way. Finishing up with Josh Berry in the 4 car, 9th on the grid right now. But
Larson's
they're
top
not
10.
Just mailing it in. They're racing very difficult each and every week. So he'll join up.
Larson's the top overall average.
A lot of the right ingredients are there. The question is, can you get them all at the right time at the right tracks?
Kind of like a coming home for Justin Haley prior to tomorrow. He's got 35 starts with Spire already, as we see a man who was in the hot seat last weekend in Bristol. We were focused a lot on Martin Truex
Speeding
Jr.
penalty got him.
Was he going to make it? Was he not? There was a long period of time there where he was doing everything right, but unfortunately a pit road speed penalty put him at the back, and that was the end of his night and the end of his chances of advancing through to the round of 12.
Well, and the nightmare, I mean, we just showed you the last 8 finishes. The best was the 20th.
Yeah.
And it's just been a nightmare. You know, I'm running out of
He had a horrible end of the
or
season.
explanation or analysis. It's not speed. You know, the thing that everybody works the hardest on is to find speed. That's the magical thing we talk about. Have the car drive good. Have it comfortable. And 19 seems to have that. But none of that has translated to better finishes.
Yeah, this is certainly one of his better racetracks. The question...
He's pretty good.
To me has always been, because I experienced it, how much energy can you bring
4 minutes left here in Group B practice.
And it's easy to say, I'm going to bring 100%. It doesn't change anything, but it does. You now walk into that garage. You're no longer chasing the championship. You're chasing the best finishes you can get. That's different. And so with his number of days winding down in his full-time career, you know, he is crew chief team. If they're going to win races in the next 7, they're going to have to be more committed than before, because these playoff teams, they find a way to bring more, and it gets very difficult to beat them.
So if
Denny
I was
Hamlin,
James Small,
Chase
I would take the
don't
exact
judge me.
opposite approach with Martin. I would make sure the team is doing exactly what you said, Jeff, right? We are rounding the troops. But for
I just
Martin,
can't wear any Denny
I think
stuff.
I would
I'm not
almost
allowed
say, hey, man, I really want you to enjoy this last 7.
Because we broke 22,000
I'm going to try
last
to give you the best race car again. I don't want to make you think like I'm not trying, right? To your point, Jeff, we're going to work as hard as we know how to work. But, Martin, you've had such an illustrious career. You've done so many things. I want you to just look forward to coming to the racetrack. So, you know, I don't know exactly what button that is. I would look at the same way for Kyle Busch in the 8 car, looking for that win, right? Looking for the win for 20 years in a row. That's an incredible record. He currently owns it with 19 years in a row. And I think for the 8, he's really fast when he's really happy. So, I don't know if you can work harder. You just have to come with a little bit more relaxed mindset.
No Denny
a couple of back-to-back examples of if they were to get a win, either Truex or Busch, there'd be a lot of happy people for a variety of
Denny Hamlin
reasons.
was talking about T-Van in his podcast this week.
Kyle said that took him quite a number
but
of
all
years
those Denny
to figure
haters
it out
there that
once
live
he
in
did figure out Kansas.
their
He's
heads
a
for free.
winner here. He loves it. He's excited about coming here this weekend. And maybe just
he was talking to you, T-Van.
Keep that winning run, that incredible winning run going. Less than 3 minutes left in this practice session before we go into quali mode to set the field for tomorrow's Hollywood Casino 400.
So far, of all the playoff drivers, I think this is the one that is struggling the most in regard to speed. Chase Briscoe only has 17 laps. He's come in and out of the pits multiple times trying to make his race car better. And with only 17 laps, obviously he's going to be faster than everybody. But that's a 31.82 with 18 laps. And Blaney's out there running 31.90s with 31 laps. So far, this is not the start of this race weekend that this 14 car needs. Still some time to make some changes and get better, but not the start they wanted.
Can't imagine the emotion the driver's going through with a bride expecting twins. Said they took a trip to the hospital just the other day, yesterday, I think it was.
Last night.
Yeah, last night with potential. They actually had another appointment get canceled with some power outages with a crazy storm on the East Coast. So this is a driver that you know, has I can't even imagine the emotion and trying to find the right focus to come do your job.
By the way, he told our Dustin Long from MDC Sports that he's asked Richard Boswell, his crew chief, if he's in the race, and Richard or the team find out about wife Marissa and the twins, the birth of their twins. He said, don't tell me until the race is over.
130-29. We're trying to get to 200 likes. 700 folks in here. Help us get there.
Made his plane available, which is
1 minute and 20 seconds left
boss, right?
in practice.
Next year.
It's going to be one of those weekends. He also told Dustin that after they were released from the hospital last night, after Marissa was having some contractions on their way home, they said, why not? We feel like a burger. So they went to Cookout.
Get a shake?
Get a shake and just relax.
Who likes Cookout?
A lot going on, that's for sure.
Cookout's got some great milkshakes.
Kim, what's
Crazy
happening in
storm
your
prayers for all the Southeast, right?
You're talking
DJ?
about Chase Briscoe. I do want to add, he got hush puppies and some other things. He did not get a milkshake. Marissa did get a milkshake at Cookout. But you talk about the impending birth of his twins, and then that's something on his plate as he tries to navigate running for a championship. The other thing this weekend that's big for this team is they had a pit crew swap. So the Josh Berry pit crew from the earlier part of the season will now be pitting for Chase Briscoe. And I talked to him, and he said it was a really tough thing. It's tough for everybody. It's tough for Josh Perry's pit crew being on his crew.
Why would you change it up in the middle of the playoffs? That's dumb.
Of the crew that basically got Chase to where he is, but they had some faults last weekend. They had some slow stops.
Awesome. Thank you guys for hitting that like button for us.
Chase said he texted his entire crew
trying to get to 200
and told
likes.
them that they are still just as much a part of this crew as the new guys, as the 4 guys coming on to this 14. Then he said it's for everybody. Everybody is all in from top to bottom, despite there being a little bit of a shakeup on pit road. And what does that mean, though, for a team? You know, I'll pose this to Steve and to Jeff. When you have a crew that's gotten you as far as it has, and then all of a sudden it's shaken up, what does that do for confidence levels?
Well, I will say this.
Why would you change it up?
Unpopular.
Why would you mess
no
the
one loves
juju?
when I say it, but this is not high school intramural football. It is professional sports, and coaches, especially right now, we're in football
hit
season.
that like button for
we
us,
see
y'all.
coaches
Keep
bench.
hitting it
If you're a
like,
Panthers
let's go.
fan, you know all about this, right? Your star QB's on the bench now. You have to make changes. That Josh Barrett crew is ranked 7th on the season. Briscoe's crew ranked 20th. So,
well, there you go. I guess that makes sense.
I know there's a lot of personality and a lot of meshing, but in the end,
Logano
it is a
taught Hamlin all he knows.
performance-based sport.
Johnny.
As a crew chief for many years, it was, it's tough.
All right,
and it
that's
hurts
it.
your feelings when you have to make changes like that. I think it's even more emotional here. You're talking about an organization shutting down, but you just have to put the best foot forward. I applaud the organization for making a change. I know that had to be super emotional in the situation they're in, Diff, but I think you owe it to Briscoe, right? If you feel like you have a pit crew available and he's in the playoffs, you have to give it to your playoff car, right, Jeff?
It's about winning. End period, end of story.
Trackhouse is looking good.
I know changing the pit crews, our sport, that's kind of, it's newish,
yeah, right,
in the history of our sport. But in every other sport, if you got a guy that can run faster, catch the ball better, throw the ball better, you put them in. And it's just that simple. And the pit crew that wasn't doing as well, that is hurtful. But if over the season, you can't make those changes over a couple bad stops.
Right.
But if over the season you have a team that's been better, then it's the most responsible and the right thing to do for a company trying to win the playoffs and win the championship.
They're off today, Lloyd.
Look, I don't know if they made the right call or not. Time will tell on that. But I definitely agree with putting the best pit crew on pit road that you could possibly have to try to go win a championship.
And by the way, Stevie, on behalf of all Panthers fans, want to thank you, as you're a Pats fan, for mentioning a Panthers victory. Go Andy Dalton. 36-year-old, still got plenty of life left in the arm and the legs.
Only guy to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was right away. Good for him. I was impressed.
You've made my weekend already, and the weekend's only just getting started because we're looking forward to tomorrow.
All right, going to a commercial break. We will be bringing you live coverage tomorrow from the Hollywood Casino 400 right here on our channel, so make sure you check that out. We'll actually have in-car cameras and the battle cam and the aerial cam as well for tomorrow's race. And also we'll be doing the Xfinity race today, right after this, by an hour after this stream ends. We'll be bringing you 300 miles for the Kansas Lottery 300 with the cams and the audio and everything. Make sure you're having fun. We're going to be having fun here this afternoon, so make sure you join us. I'll be putting the pin message in the pin message, and also this stream will be redirected you over to Xfinity as well. So hit that like button for us today. We're trying to get to 200 likes. We're way over 100 and trying to hit 23,000 subscribers. So keep on hitting those subscribes. Join us for the rest of the year. We'll be bringing this coverage to you like this every weekend. Only 2 cams for Xfinity race later. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll give you the battle cam, the aerial cam, and one of the in-car cameras. And then tomorrow we cannot watch, I think it's, who is it? Martin Truex Jr., I think, tomorrow, I'm not sure. I can't remember who it was, but that's who we'll be doing.
And as we throw
race will be on
everybody
TV. Awesome,
into
Patrick.
the mix, here's what it looks like, Jeff. Both Group A and B after 20 minutes of practice each.
Yeah, you can see the majority of them Group A. Track just a little bit cooler. Kyle Larson, the only guy right there in Group B. So
pretty good, Rick.
A little hard to tell, how this track was, but Kyle Larson being in that group tells me he certainly has a fast car. That's a big surprise.
Well, and this is why the A qualifies against A and B qualifies against B, because even just a little bit of time that you'll sit between 2 qualifying sessions.
He's going to run top 5, possibly a win.
Christopher Bell of Joe Gibbs Racing going for 3 poles in a row at Kansas Speedway. We'll see if he can get that in just a little
Bell's
while.
my pick to win this week.
Up. It's a beautiful day here in the Heartland at this just immaculate facility, the way. If you've never been to Kansas
All right,
Speedway,
well, thanks,
put it on
Patrick.
your
You should join us for a race,
visit
man. You
list,
might enjoy it.
because you will be nothing but impressed. And the
Because
Hollywood
we actually
Casino,
show
by the way, we can
cams,
see it from our booth.
during the race.
It's just over outside turn 2 here at the Speedway. There it is, over in the distance. We're on the opposite side of the track to that. Stevie, I know that you know what the inside of that place
Tyler
looks
Reddick.
like.
That's
very
it.
fond,
Tyler Reddick
very
tomorrow.
fond
Thank
of
you.
some areas in that building over there.
You're a Chris
Great
Bell fan
steakhouse.
also?
Yeah, this whole area is, we first started coming out
Ruffles will
here,
wreck
there
the
was
field.
not a lot.
Rooting for
And
Kyle Busch
now
for win the
there's
rest of the season. We'll
shopping,
see.
there's hotels,
JD.
there's restaurants, there's a soccer stadium, baseball field, all kinds of stuff. And it is amazing how it's grown.
Meeting of the minds right here. We heard about a potential engine issue. That's Chase Elliott left obvious. In the foreground, you see Scott Maxim, who longtime employee, now runs the Hendrick engine department. Behind him, Jeff Andrews, who's president and general manager of Hendrick Motorsports, who was the former head of the Hendrick engine department, so knows a lot about it. Alan Gustafson.
What's up, Tim? Good to see you.
I was wondering what the update was going to be, and it doesn't look
Body
super
language.
happy.
No,
Yeah,
body language says a lot.
Yeah, that's just frustrating for Alan, the group. Remember, if you don't qualify, you're not going to get a pit pick. You're just, I mean, the good news is it happened
Car
in
issues
practice.
for
If
Chase
you want
Elliott,
to
seems
kinda
like.
glass half full at Jeff. But now we'll have to just get an official update. Sounds like they're getting some updates now, what their options are, when they can work on the car.
Well, the concern would, obviously.
Bronny's an
very
expert in
interested to
NASCAR
understand
news,
what is
man.
wrong.
He gives me all the
Does
information.
it
Blessed to have Bronny in our
migrate
chat.
itself through the Hendrick Motorsports camp? That would be concerning.
So they're talking over there. It
As the
doesn't look
discussion
good.
goes
Everybody's
on,
got
by
a
the way,
frown
for
on their
Chase Elliott
face.
fans, I know you know, but he is 7th in the standings as we begin the second
Busch's Skittle car.
round of
Snake.
the playoffs. We were talking about the 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson a little earlier. He's standing by with Kim.
Yeah, Lee, 7-time champ, 3-time Kansas winner. So let's talk about practice first. What did you have in the car and what did you need?
Not driving these cars every week, it just takes a little time to get back in the rhythm. I spent plenty of time in the simulator adjusting, but when you have real life consequences, it's just different. So learning my way around, really enjoying this opportunity, and thankful for Dollar Tree and Family Dollar to allow me to be out here in the Toyota Camry. And just trying to help learn a little here to help with our other 2 cars. It's been a challenging year for us, but I really think we're moving in the right direction, and using the 3rd car occasionally here should help us for 25.
Next week, you're going to be on the Peacock Pit Box for Talladega. What's more nerve-wracking, watching your teams out on the track at a super speedway race or being in a super speedway race?
Being in the super speedway race is pretty crazy. So I'll be happy sitting on the box, but really the reason I'm here is just for NBC. I'm doing this so that I'm a better broadcaster next weekend. So thank you, everybody.
We love it.
Yeah, thanks.
Looking forward to seeing Jimmy as part of the team next weekend at Talladega.
Awesome, Patrick.
That's always great to have Jimmy on the team. And we say well done, too, because he's making his 696th Cup start tomorrow, which, Steve, breaks a tie for 22nd all-time with the man who's in between you and me. Jeff, did you even know that stat?
Man.
695?
I knew I felt old for some reason.
So now, now I feel like I am going to drop you off at the front door to dinner. No more walking for the parking lot.
I might have to start a few races to beat that tie.
Yeah.
I think it's going to beat me today, so maybe I start a couple.
We'll see.
Yeah, no
All
cameras
let's
for
get things
practice.
rolling. Are you ready for qualifying? 2 groups. And
I call him Brody,
we will
James.
net the top
What's up,
5 from each
play-by-play with
group,
JJ?
and
Good to
then
see you,
we'll
buddy.
sort out who's in the top 10 and the race for that pole position again.
All right, here we
Christopher
go.
Bell going for 3 in a
Yaley.
row. But let's get things going with the
See what he can
44
do.
of JJ Yaley.
So I'm going to be very curious in Xfinity
Make sure you check out my
Series,
man play-by-play
the
with
first half of
JJ
the
for
cars
all
ran around
Phillies.
the bottom of the racetrack, and then all of a sudden the top became the dominant spot. So top coming to the green, pretty normal as expected. But what's JJ do down here 1 and 2? Does he go to the bottom?
Top.
What's up, Michael? Good to see you.
Think about it. All top. I was shocked anybody in Xfinity ran the bottom. I was really surprised.
There's no TV coverage
Actually,
for
I ran into
qualifying.
Parker
It's on the
Kligerman, and he's
NBC
like, I'm sitting
Sports
there
app.
trying to decide what to do, and I'm like, there's a choice? Like, you know what I mean? And so what he did is he watched some guys in front of him, and they all went to the top, and so then it became evident that was the place to go. But I think in this car particularly, Steve, I don't think you'll see anybody run the bottom.
That's why you needed that stat, Diff, because that's what you say. I started 695 of these. Let me tell you, you need to run the top.
So there's the first time on the board from JJ Yaley, 31.6. at a speed of just over 170.5 miles per hour. Up next in the 15, Kaz Grala. He's going to make his first Cup start here at Kansas Speedway tomorrow.
Yeah, he's run here in the other 2 series, both trucks and Xfinity.
Kaz, every time he drives this car, it's Rick Ware racing car.
Your Mets are falling apart.
I've seen him run, you know, top 15 every now and then.
All right,
a few races he's run even a little better than that. They don't always get the finishes, but Kaz has done a nice job in this race car.
Love those yellow wheels.
You see, only down to half throttle, so never completely out of the gas. Will best the Yaley time by a good bit, half a second.
Yeah, good chunk of time there. Nice run from Kaz Grala.
This weekend, JoJo, they start this weekend.
Heading into
it's not over yet, PG.
Tomorrow to make his first Cup start. We mentioned Ty Dillon and that positive sign for 2025 for him, where he will race full-time in Cup. Let's go. He's on the clock from here.
I thought these Collet cars had pretty decent pace and race drill.
No video, Robert, for practice or qualifying.
He actually looked like he drug a little bit of brake, but still.
Here's Ty Dillon doing Ty Dillon things.
Speed looks good. Almost 0.3 of a second to the good over Grala. It's trending that way. It's staying that way. And Ty Dillon will go to the top. All right, Chase Elliott's been a talking point throughout this practice and heading into qualifying. Let's find out more what the latest is with Kim.
Yeah, not sure.
I love it when
people
find me by accident.
Chase, you didn't get to complete
Keep
practice.
Hitting
you
that
didn't
subscribe.
roll
Keep
your
hitting
car
that like
out
button.
to the
Trying to
grid.
get to 200
Any
likes.
indication of what's wrong with the engine?
We're not sure. You know, we went through all the things that you can check on pit road. Obviously, when you have an engine issue like that, it's can be difficult to identify what exactly is broke. You know, for me, I came off turn 2 and basically just felt like it went down a cylinder, audible change, and lost a lot of power. So I knew something was wrong and came in, you know, as quick as I could just to try to keep from messing it up any worse. But such a bummer. What a terrible time.
Dillon has his moments.
Something go wrong. You know, the Hendrick engine shop has been so good, you know, throughout my career. I don't even think I've filled up a hand of engine issues that, you know, we've had over the course of my entire career. So I hate it.
Do you think he's better than his brother?
Would much rather have it happen today than tomorrow. So we'll try to go make a lap, you know, just for the tire situation and to try to better our position for tomorrow and see where it ends up.
Thanks for the time.
Yep.
So again, you heard him, but Chase did say they'll try and make a lap. If it runs for a lap, then they will change the motor on that Chevrolet.
Eric Jones on the racetrack right before Harrison Burton. I love the lap that Eric Jones laid out there. He put it against the boards on corner entry in both corners, and I think that's the pathway to success. He used all the racetrack. He's a really good driver at Darlington where you do that, getting into turn 3. It looked just like that. Right now, P1 on the board. I don't think he's going to end up P1, but I love the lap, and I loved his approach.
Well, and his speed of 30.5, that was about on target with what Kyle Larson did from Group B, slightly slower than Group A. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on track, and the clock says green at the moment.
Really nice 1 and 2, trending green down the backstretch.
See, he did the same thing. A lot of the earlier drivers, they entered a little bit lower and kind of washed up to the wall. Eric Jones, Harrison Burton, Ty Dillon, and now Ricky Stenhouse, they all use that high entry. I think that's a pathway to success for sure.
Oh, that was close, Jeff. Really close. 30.526 for Jones, 30.535 for Ricky Stenhouse. The JTG Doherty man almost eclipsed Eric Jones. We've seen Ty Dillon on track. Now here's Big Bro. Here's Austin. And that's a good start, Steve. 0.3 to the good.
It is, comparing to Grala in 5th. So I think he's looking to run something in the 50s to really have a chance. And he's going to be trending there. Denny Hamlin on the bottom. He's bringing his homework with him.
Like RCR is continuing to improve. I know they're disappointed they're not, you know, in the playoffs any longer, you know, or never made the playoffs this year, but still are making improvements to that car every week.
All right, here we go.
Is the South Point Chevy for Daniel Hemrick. had a decent
Eric
practice
Jones
run.
still on top. They don't need to show one lap. They got
Pretty committed to
2
the
laps.
gas. Went right back to the throttle as soon as he got up to the wall. Had to lift a little bit. There early, he's in the gas.
He's got a chance to push himself
Keep
into
hitting
that
that
top
subscribe,
5.
y'all.
And should leapfrog Ty Dillon. He does. Daniel Hemrick to 5th.
Ty Dillon out of the top 5. Hemrick, he was fast in practice.
So from Hemrick to Brad Keselowski and the RFK Racing Ford.
Bad Brad. Let me see those Bad Brad fans. Anybody out there, even though he's out of the playoffs, you still cheering on him? See Bad Brad.
They had a big struggle last week at Bristol. Just didn't go as well as they needed them to go.
We're good.
Not a great lap here.
Let me see Bad Brad.
Going to build some speed on corner exit. Probably 4th fastest here.
It was a very consistent lap from Keselowski where that time didn't really change a lot. He got a little bit faster towards the end of the lap. Here's Chase Elliott after speaking with Kim Kuhn. So we're going to try. We're going to try and go out. We're going to try and do a lap. We'll see what the engine allows us to do.
Here's
Carson Hocevar on track now.
Hocevar.
You mentioned the high entrance. That was it. That was kind of above the pavement seam getting into the corner and rolled through the middle of the corner. Another high entrance. Actually turns down a little bit on exit, or maybe through the middle is more accurate.
Yeah, you'll see that in 3 and 4 more than you do
Talladega
in 1
next
and 2.
week.
1 and 2,
Yes,
you
it
kind of
is,
stay against
Brad.
the wall the entire way around P1 right here. 3 and 4, you use a
There is
little
no channel
more
for
racetrack,
qualifying.
turn down a little bit.
I don't know, Riggs. Check your points.
As we see Hocevar come in, I just want to go back to that
So
Chase
Hocevar
Elliott
top
interview.
5.
You know, he talked about the engine and what
Up
he
next,
felt and why he shut it
Gregson.
off. But then he had an interesting comment. He said, we're going to go out here and see if it will run. And for
You're
the
going to have to
tire
say it a lot,
situation.
Bronny.
So to explain to the fan at home, every team is allotted the same amount of tires. The asterisk or caveat is you're
NBC
allowed to
Sports
transfer
app.
a set of scuffs, not stickers. So if the 9 doesn't qualify, these are still brand new tires. He can't transfer those to Sunday just because he didn't use them and have an extra set of tires against the field. That's not how this works. Now, he has a set of scuffs from practice, but they got 25 laps or something. That's going to do them no
Group
good
A.
in the race.
Group A
so
qualifying.
It really, to the 9's
Group
advantage
A
to go out there.
qualifying.
Even if he runs a 35-second lap and qualifies last, the risk is the engine fails completely.
Exclamation
damages
points.
the race car oil on the racetrack.
Exclamation
things like
point
that. I'm
points.
sure
See how many points you got.
what Chase may or may not know, but it's not up to him to tell us, is the engine department has probably said we're going to go out and give this a chance. But if we get just one lap, even if it's 5
Haley and
seconds off the
LaJoy are in
pace,
Group
that
B, yes.
gives us that set of scuffed tires for the race. I know it's way in the nuance, but it matters enough that Chase Elliott's going to go risk this qualifying lap.
All right, Chase is getting ready to go out. So too is Joey Logano in a moment. He's with Kim.
And Joey Logano, remember, won Atlanta, the
See those
opening race of the round of
22s.
16. So that gave you 2 extra weeks to put a little bit more focus than other teams on Kansas. What does that afford you as a driver?
I mean, a little bit. It's definitely more impactful if you win in the round of 8. You're locked into the championship 4, but it definitely helps a little bit and able to focus in a little bit more on Kansas, and hopefully that pays some dividends here moving forward into the rest of the weekend.
What makes Kansas challenging? I know we talk about it being a 1.5 miles, but I know the radius of the corner is very long for you as a driver. What kind of do you have to put together to make a good lap here?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a fast track. You're carrying so much on throttle time. Top lane's so fast. You see that in qualifying. You're right on the ragged edge. It's a pretty sketchy lap, to be honest with you. And then the race, as wide as it is, restarts are probably one of the most challenging parts of the whole day. So making sure you hit those things, those little details correct, gives you at least a shot to win this thing.
Betty,
So
for
I think our
subscribing.
Penzo Mustang's got decent speed in it. It seemed to handle pretty good. I'm going to make some small tweaks, but we'll see what he's got for qualifying.
Robert as well, if I missed you there, Robert. Thanks
Good
for
stuff.
subscribing,
Joey's
too.
a Kansas winner. And as Kim mentioned right at the beginning of that interview, I'm sure he'd like to win straight up in
Food
this
Network,
first race of the round of 12.
Here's
There are
Gregson.
2 cars in the field this weekend, both from Stuart Haas, that look exactly the same in this Bed Bath and Beyond.
Which car in the
It's
top
Josh
5
Berry
is going to
and this
still
man,
be
Noah
there?
Gregson, and the point of
How
differentiation
many cars in the top
is
5 are going to
roof.
be here,
Noah
considering all
has
the playoff drivers are
predominantly
next?
white roof, whereas Josh has the blue roof. We'll get tricked in the race, I'm sure.
I'm not saying either
I think
of them.
Carson Ozabar and Eric Jones.
There's no chance. I'm going to say a SHR car diff.
There you go. There's the difference.
Oh, yeah, that's really helped me out.
Good lap right here. Losing a little bit on the exit of turn 4, but prior to that, it was really good. Didn't turn out as well as he needed it to or wanted it to. Looks like he may have gotten tight. Car didn't turn the way he wanted in the middle of 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 in the entrance to 3 was really good.
And Noah Gregson has eased his way into that top 5 at the
top
moment.
5.
We
Bad Brad's
continue
out
with this first group. Next up, Ross Chastain, who was the fastest
Here's
man from practice.
Chastain. We see those watermelons. The Kubota Tractors Chevrolet.
It's close, 2/100ths of a second off.
Thanks for the subscribe,
It's coming back. It's coming back. It's gone green.
Well, it's the part of the racetrack that Noah had trouble in, right?
See those
He
watermelons.
made all of it up in the middle of 3 and 4 in the exit.
Chastain to P4. All right, who's up next? Ty Gibbs on track.
Terry dropping those 9s. All right, legend in training.
Ooh, came to the green.
Ty Gibbs
really
out of the
nice. Carried
playoffs.
some speed through 3 and 4.
Got caught speeding.
That did have a
What's up,
wiggle.
Bill?
I tell you what, it didn't slow him down.
Legend in training.
The only guy who didn't care was Ty Gibbs. Had me nervous.
I guess he'll pick up his training next year.
That only becomes more motivated by being knocked out of the playoffs. This is a monster lap. Look at that.
He's not beating.
Wow, a 22. All right, so Chastain, I hate to tell you, but if there's a 22 out there and we
Ty
have
Gibbs,
6 playoff
top of the
drivers
board.
to go, I don't feel very good for Chastain, really, or Stenhouse, probably even
Awesome
Eric
chase
Jones.
from
I just feel like
Dawsonville, Terry
all
says.
of these guys know how to find the pace.
Here's
That was the
Suarez.
best time of the day.
What's up,
Next
Adam?
on
Good to
track
see you.
is one of the 12
Let's see
remaining
what
playoff
happens.
drivers.
Suarez.
The man from Mexico. Daniel Suarez showed his grit and determination last weekend at Bristol just to hang tough and to do enough to be here, to be in,
Keep
to
hitting
be
that
present
subscribe.
in the round
Keep hitting
of
that like
12.
button for us.
Well,
Trying to get to 300 likes. We have 1,000 folks in here.
Wow, there you go, a 30.
Let's get to 300 likes really quick.
It doesn't matter the sport. Baseball, football, basketball, auto racing. There's nothing like the postseason. I believe it, right? It clamps
since 2021,
down on the
Rick.
athlete, on the performer, to find something more, to find a different level of performance we have yet to see. You see it every time. And now we have Reddick, who's going to try to match that feat.
And he's using every
Reddick's going to be in the top 5.
He is right against the wall all the way through the corner. See, he used not
Gibbs,
so
Kurt
much
says.
on this end of the racetrack, but in 1 and 2, he really used it all. See what this is.
There we go. P3.
P3, tie with the 99, 30.31.
Tyler Reddick, P3.
And this is part of the big picture that Tyler wanted to achieve this weekend. Qualify better.
This is the
Give
first group,
myself a
Group A.
chance at starting up front so I can fight right from the drop of the green flag. Here's William Byron, fellow playoff driver in the round of 12.
So the NASCAR.com's a little
Crew
behind.
chief watch.
Reddick
Tied
there,
with,
P3.
yeah.
Here
Tied,
is
got
Willie
beaten by a little
B.
bit. That's the old positive crew chief watch. Dude.
This one's
Awesome, Rick.
tied. This one right here has a chance to go all the way to the top, better than Gibbs. He needs to find just maybe a touch more down at this end of the racetrack, and he's doing it.
See what Willie B can
Looking
do.
good. It's going to be close for P1. 0.3 of a second to the good.
Boom,
For William
P1.
Byron to the top.
I don't know. Here goes
So
Eric
these
Jones.
guys, like Reddick, like Byron, who said we
hosts
can
of
go
our
to Kansas
Survive.
and have a good weekend, they're doing it. They're not just talking about it. So far, they're doing it. Up next, another playoff driver. Here's
Big
Alex
trickle.
Bowman.
Here's Bowman.
What a great shot right off the front nose of 48. Jeff, you and I were just out there in the pace car. The track in general has very little content. I mean, smooth. it looks like you should have some bumps,
This
but you don't really
NBC
feel
knows.
it. Right? I mean,
NBC
it's
Sports
the
app.
weathered asphalt, but except for right there. That's a real bump when you go down to the
Bowman!
Yeah, very smooth racetrack.
So long!
Alex.
So none of the top 5. Whoever guessed 0 was correct.
I don't know if that's going to be good enough.
All right, Denny.
Make this final 5, but nonetheless,
let's go, Denny.
I think that's what you hope for, Steve, right? Is you don't have to sit on the pole as a playoff guy, but you don't want to qualify 25th.
That's right.
You want to be toward the front for sure. You can see Hamlin a little more pace.
Just a couple of drivers to come in this first group.
Going to be in the top 5. It looks like.
Switch with the inclusion of Jimmy Johnson in the field this weekend. 38 drivers.
Oh, Denny, that's right.
Speedway.
Real shark.
Clock still says
What's up,
green
Terry?
for Denny Hamlin to push his way into the top 5.
Come on, Denny.
And it's only getting better.
P5.
How about P3?
How about P3? I'll take that even
knocks
better.
Alex Bowman out. And Tyler Reddick is now in the hot seat as Chase Elliott is on track.
Yeah, let's listen in.
Oh,
and
Chase
see
Elliott. I forgot about Chase.
how this 9 sounds. No, it sounds pretty sick to me.
Looks really slow, too.
Yeah.
Only
I did not.
181 mile an hour, 182.
You see those 9s?
I give Chase credit. I mean, he's not out there part throttle or pedaling it. He's giving a full effort. Wide open, no problem. The lack of horsepower is definitely showing.
So remember we saw this with the 11 car early in the playoffs, and they just found just a little bit of an electrical problem. Or maybe as simple as something like that. You would think they could have found that pretty easily, though.
Yeah.
Between practice and qualifying, they didn't find it. So either way, they'll start at the back of the pack.
Now
Last.
I'm sure it'll be into the garage, and as Chase pointed out, they can take the spark plugs out. They have cameras, borescopes that look down in each cylinder, try to look what's wrong. They can take the valve covers off. NASCAR will be there and let them really dig into this engine. You know, if you're a Hendrick at this point, I think you'd just as soon change the engine. You see there's an issue, but they're going to have to see what it is, and NASCAR is going to just have to be on board that it has to be fixed. This one, unless they do find something like that plug wire, Jeff, I think we're going to probably see a different engine.
It's not on TV, Mike. It is on
tomorrow.
NBC Sports app.
Elliott, one of the 12 playoff drivers. Series champion in the NASCAR Cup.
All right, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it. We're going to be doing the Xfinity race right after. If you guys have not figured it out, we have that stream coming up on our channel. So make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe. We're now in Group B qualifying, and the top 5 will move on. And now we'll see what Group B does. Paint scheme video, make sure, check out the paint scheme video as well. It's been doing really well. It's got over 1,000 views.
Going to be a busy day tomorrow for the 9 to make progress as quickly as he can. We'll update you when we know more about the story of this, just like we did at Atlanta with Denny Hamlin and the JGR cars. As we join Kim, who have you found?
Chase Briscoe getting ready to make his qualifying lap. It feels like the wind has picked up here, and that's always a big question at Kansas. What does it feel like in the car, and how can it affect your qualifying lap?
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, this place, for whatever reason, I feel like affects us way more than anywhere else. Just your balance. You know, even before practice, I was asking my spotter just which direction the wind's blowing, because it really changes how the car drives. So you never know if it's a wind gust or whatever it may be. So in qualifying, it's a little bit different, but certainly in the race tomorrow, the wind will be a huge factor just from a balance standpoint.
2:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna have regardless of the wind on Hendrick Tractor's Ford Mustang, or Dark Horse, but I don't know. We just have not been able to quite find the balance today so far. So have literally zero idea what I'm going to have here in qualifying, but hopefully it'll be good.
You have a lot going on besides making a qualifying lap here. I know your wife, Marissa, is close to delivering the twins. On top of that, we've talked about your pit crew switch for this weekend. From behind the wheel, how do you manage it all and maintain your focus?
Yeah, there's certainly been a lot going on just with the playoffs, and like literally last night at 9 o'clock, I was at the hospital with Marissa. So yeah, I think for me, you just got to try to focus at the job at hand, right? And that's to drive this 14 car as fast as I possibly can every single lap. So try to block all that other stuff out, but at the end of the day, just got to do my job the best I can. Look myself in the mirror at the end of the night and know I did that. So that's what we're trying to do.
And remember, Chase told us last weekend that people need
Elliott,
to start
and Briscoe
taking this
sound
team
the same?
seriously when it comes to a
Is it
championship
just me?
title.
Kind of a little bit like Scotty Scheffler at the Masters this year when he has the birth of his
All right,
first
Group B,
child. This is
Jimmy
not the
Johnson,
birth of
JJ.
Briscoe's first child, but he too had to focus on the Masters and was thinking about his wife.
You don't think so?
And child.
I think
so,
they do.
Speaking of being a dad, Here's the dad of two,
Thank
Jimmy
you, JD.
Johnson, on track back at
They're
Kansas.
both Jays. Oh, well. I guess I got something going for me. Thanks for subscribing, JD.
As we begin Group 2.
JJ should have stayed retired.
Jimmy posts the time of a 30.8 in comparison. Best time from Group 1, a 30.220.
Keep hitting that like button for us.
Elliott, back to the garage.
Trying to
Team will
get
go
to
to work
300
on the 9
likes.
car.
And listen, really quickly, just
All right,
before we
Justin
get to Justin
Haley.
Haley's qualifying run, what's that like for the
What
team
you
now?
got
Is it
in
like
this
all hands
7
on
car?
deck, everybody's in there, or you just keep a sense of
Got a
calm?
Fox.
I think right here,
Thumbs up, Bubba. Thank you.
real sense of calm. You don't need too much help. You're not up against the time limit. You have until tomorrow. Get the car up, get the parts and pieces off that need to be out of the way, and let the engine department get in there and do what they do. And at
Justin
that point,
Haley's
that's the
first
key,
time
right?
qualifying in the
don't
7.
Create another issue being in a hurry as we see Justin Haley first qualifying run and really his return to Spire. You pointed it out. He was there a couple years ago. So while he is back to Spire, that .49 would be just a little short in the first group. It would
Justin
match
Haley.
Hocevar. He ran a 4.7, so very close to his teammate.
And as fate would have it,
Oh, for sure.
the replacement
Here's
driver.
his other
driver
car.
swap here. One goes right
Corey
after the other.
LaJoy in that
They'll ride around
51.
in the trucks tomorrow, probably waving to the crowd. Pit next to each other. It always works out that way.
Thank you, Mike, for
And we
subscribing.
don't yet know what 2025 looks like for Corey LaJoy, but we do know that you'll see him in this car for the remainder of the 24 season. Just slightly off on time at the moment, just by a 10th. But he's going to leapfrog Jimmy Johnson and tuck in behind Justin Haley early in this
They
Group 2
swapped
portion
drivers.
of qualifying.
Pretty decent, respectable lap by Corey and, of course, by both of those drivers. I think both of them will be pretty happy with those. I don't think they're going to be great with where they end up, but good efforts by both.
Sean Hunter Nemechek on track now, by the way.
Right, Sean?
From the first
We're
group.
like, wait a
and
minute,
the
that's
top
Corey LaJoy.
five,
Oh, wait, no,
four
that's-
of the top 5 are playoff drivers. So this is
Especially
setting up
when LaJoy
quite the
wrecks the
showdown here to
51.
set the grid for tomorrow's Hollywood Casino 400.
And I would expect more of the same from this group. John Hunter trying to get some time back down here in 3 and 4. Loses it on exit.
Patience
Bottom
is
5
required
letting the boys
right now
have
with
fun,
this team,
exactly.
right? They're building, they're growing. Eric Jones, he was 8th fastest in the first group, so that's a good sign, teammate. But new association. It's toward the
What's
end
up,
of
Mike
the year.
D? Good to
Steve.
see you.
New association with Toyota this year. I think next year that whole group's going to look completely different. It's going to be very competitive.
Next
Thank
up,
you,
Front Row
Scrapyard
Motorsports, Todd
Refugees.
Gilliland. Admittedly, this has not been the best track for Todd. They're working on it. They're making improvements. We'll see what qualifying looks like.
I spent some time with Todd this week, and I asked him about Kansas. He didn't even go to the race. He went to qualifying. He said, let me tell you, it's sketchy. Qualifying around there feels fast.
And bluntly, the weakness
He's about
of
to
this
lose some
team
race
is
cars,
that
all right, Snake?
It is.
They just
They
do
start
not
behind.
qualify
Yeah.
well, and they race.
Yeah, that's
fine.
all right,
The
Austin.
way they race has
Appreciate
they have
you.
good speed. It's very
Yeah, we
good,
just
very
can't
respectable,
show.
but they start behind.
They don't
every
supply any
week.
cams or anything.
All right, Steve, with the blue
Slick
roof, who's
Rick.
this?
Josh
Go
Barrett.
Kyle Busch, $1.99.
Cards ready.
Thank you, sir. Everybody tells Slick Rick, thank you.
And off to a good start.
What's up, Bumblebee?
The comparison is to the 5th place car of Jimmy Johnson, but he's trending towards being 0.2 of a second better, so he's going to be around
did
that
Denny qualify,
P3
Mr.
mark
Bay?
of
He's
John
in the
Hunter
top
Nemechek
5,
at the
Raymond.
moment.
Elliott, bad last place in Group A. He's got an engine issue.
And the clock says P3.
Josh
With
Berry,
Haley on the top of
P3.
the rundown so far.
And if y'all
Here
didn't
comes
hear
his
during
teammate.
practice, Josh
Smith
Berry
in
and
the
Chase
71.
Briscoe's pit crew traded.
Carson
So
Hocevar,
Josh Berry's pit
the
crew
only
is now with
Spire
Chase
driver
Briscoe.
in the first group, and he just got edged out of that top 5. 7th for Hocevar.
Keep hitting that like button
As
for
we
us.
watch Zane Smith.
Try to get to 300 likes. Keep hitting that subscribe.
This is a chance to go all the way to the top.
Jeff, it's
Zane
only getting
Smith.
better. Look at that.
Watch
Look at
out
the
for this
clock.
guy.
It's getting towards half a second to the good.
Yeah, good lap right here.
He won.
Great stuff. Zane Smith.
That's another track house type car, though.
Put that
Spire.
in comparison to the fastest speed and the fastest time from
Spire.
the first group,
71.7
set by William
Remember, Hocevar
Byron,
was strong too. He got knocked out of the top 5.
Smith.
Spire Motorsports is continuing over the last several months.
Let me see my rowdy friends.
You want to go, not just to have a job, but to compete and to have a chance to compete to win races. That wasn't the case a year ago, but now they've done such a great job of building. They're putting pressure on teams like this RCR.
And Zane, I think, has to wonder.
Let me see those rowdy friends.
Year. The lineup sounds like it's full at Spire. Is woo. There we go. How about a 30.15?
You go rowdy P1.
Could this be the weekend that Kyle Busch breaks that 50-race winless drought and continues to win at least one race in every season for 20 years?
He used some rocket fuel.
We'll see. Here's Chris Buescher.
All right, Mr. Buescher.
Was 13th fastest in the first group.
No, but it does. I mean, I always get them. They actually help the stream more than they hurt.
Just not.
I get dislikes like you wouldn't believe.
That this team would want to have. Not a terrible lap, but certainly pretty far off of that 15 that Kyle Busch just ran.
Which don't make a bit of sense, but whatever. When you hit a dislike button, it helps the stream,
driver
actually.
in the top 5 for the first
That's
group
why you give them? Is that you,
Ty
Menace?
Gibbs, a playoff driver a week ago, and he didn't make the cut after Bristol. We'll see if Truex
There's always
can match
one,
that feat.
at least.
Oh, yeah, back to the gas and trending quickly.
Exclamation
maybe, just
points,
maybe,
exclamation
it's
point,
a situation where
points to find how many points you have.
Massive
exclamation
load of
point
is off.
Gamble those
Martin
points.
knows that he's counting down the races he
Here's
has left as a
Truex.
full-time
Can he
driver,
start some good luck here?
Maybe that in a more relaxed way. That's when that win's going to come in his final season. This is a good lap, really good lap, and Martin Truex Jr. slots into P3 for the time being.
Truex.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch his team. Martin's been...
No, you should hit the like button. Don't hit the dislike button. But if you do, it helps anyway.
A good representative of this sport. People respect him in the garage. Obviously very successful on track, but off track, has done the right thing.
Has
for
to be the
sport.
Euro guys.
Defending a champion.
There's some CeeLo haters out there.
Well, then he'll be missed next year full time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
He's going to come
you,
back
Russell.
and do the Daytona 500 next February. So we look forward to that, but we look forward to finishing off this 2024 season. Let's hear from Daniel Suarez. He's with Kim.
Yeah, Lee, he had a fast enough lap that he will transfer into the final round of qualifying. What can you do differently to improve on your lap time?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. The car actually was very good in 1 and 2, very good in 3, a little bit too tight in 4. So the car has definitely more in it. We just have to make a couple little tweaks. And hopefully we get right, with the tire cycle, because the tires they're not gonna be stickers anymore. But overall, on and on, I'm very, very proud of these guys, the 99 team and the 1 team. We've been working very hard since Monday, to prepare for Kansas, because I know that Kansas has been a roller coaster for me. Last year I was strong here. In the spring I was very bad here. So we put in the work, and it's showing so far. So very, very proud of these guys.
As you look at this round, Kansas, Talladega, and then the Roval at Charlotte, how would you describe it for you in this team?
Very similar to the first round, in my opinion. You have a road course in there. You have a real super speedway, which Atlanta is kind of like a hybrid. And then you have Kansas, which is more of a normal crazy mile and a half, because we're going to be running inches from the wall, which that's similar to me in Bristol, like normal Bristol. But so far, the car has been way better and faster than Bristol, so I'm happy with that.
Sounds like this driver is optimistic.
Hey, Kim, tell us about the win. Just looking at the pit stand there in the background and listening to your mic, is it picking up?
Yeah, I would say it's picking up. You would say the wind's picking up, right, Daniel?
I still don't want him in the booth, but yeah, you're right.
I had my suit open here because it feels very nice. But no, the wind is definitely playing a big
Central
factor.
Tennessee, and, Middle Tennessee, Daniel.
But that's a guessing game, right? Like I was seeing some SMT right there, and there were a couple cars that were faster than me on the straightaway, and we are blaming the wind, but you never know. It's just very windy here.
Drivers like to blame anything but themselves. But to his point about a guessing game, guys, yes, Lee, we're getting these gusts. So the wind will be kind of
we just had a lot of heavy rain.
You'll get these big bursts
Not much
that come
flooding.
across. So definitely makes an additional challenge for these drivers as they take on this second round of qualifying.
And with that shot at the drivers, Kim will get her
Rippy,
union
I don't know
check
who that
from the
is.
crew chiefs.
Here
right
comes
there.
Michael McDowell.
Blame anything else. I like that. Well done, Kim. That's great reporting.
It's only the 4th time.
Awesome, Daniel. Pretty over there.
To start in the top 10 this year, and his first on an oval.
No, I don't have any good
when he's
awesome
got to
recipes.
step up
Menace.
and deliver. He's doing it nicely. Here's
What's up,
Michael
Ken?
McDowell,
Good to see
Front Row
you.
Motorsports Ford. Let's go. He's in the green nice and early, Jeff.
Yeah, good
Oh, the
lap so
announcer.
far by McDowell. And
I like it. I like
this
Diffie.
team, you know,
I like
Michael's
him.
leaving at the end of the season. The crew
He does a good
chief's
job.
leaving at the end of the season, and that makes a very tense time within the team, and continue to bring performance is impressive.
Diffie, his name.
To your point,
His
you
name's
mentioned that Gilliland's weak
Diffie.
point, which is Mike McDowell's teammate, is qualifying. I don't see that on the 34. McDowell in this 34 car has found a way to just have the grip, the pace that Michael needs.
Michael
5-time
McDowell, let's see what he
pole
can
sitter
do.
this year. Michael McDowell.
Yeah, that's hard if you're the teammate to say, we should work
E4.
on qualifying as an organization.
All right, Ryan Preece
Another
had a
Stuart
good run
Haas
last
Ford
week.
on track. This is Ryan Preece.
All the
We're
Haas
working our way
drivers had a
through
good
the
run
order.
last week.
Bubba Wallace, Logano, Cindric,
Diffie.
Briscoe, Blaney, Bell, and Larson to come to cap off this second group before we go into the final phase of qualifying.
You're right. You're right, Bronny.
In Bristol. You see,
What's
he
up,
just
one
doesn't
wise
trust his
guy?
car. He entered turn 1.
Good to see you, man. Bologna Burger
I don't know, 2.5, 3 car widths away from the
in
wall.
the house.
Just doesn't have the confidence to lay it up there, immediately getting into the corner. And it's just hard to make pace through the center of the corner when you have to do that.
Yeah, slowest car of the group.
Ryan
Had
Preece, not a
run
good
at
car.
Bristol.
Here
This
comes
man here, Bubba Wallace, had a
Bubba.
good run at Bristol last weekend.
I've been
He
BB
was in the
rated.
mix. He
Awesome.
qualified well. He was running towards the front.
Thank you
He
guys.
had a
Bologna
good
Burger
night.
guys, you're awesome, man.
And that thing was committed to the top.
Not quite Darlington committed.
Just top 5 in Group A.
Put it on the pole.
Yeah.
But it wasn't far off.
I mean, he's a couple feet above that pavement seam, even on entry. Now he turns
He's
down to it
last.
here in the middle.
He
but
was
he's already
slowest
found
in Group A. He's got an engine
grip in the
issue.
car.
Bubba Wallace, top 5.
Green to the line for Bubba Wallace.
P2.
And jumps to P2.
I think I'm a little
Nicely
behind
done.
here.
We'll see
All right, here's
how that
Logano.
time stands, but it's still Kyle Busch who sets the pace with the fastest time of the day.
I don't do any
on
rating
top.
during racing.
Here's Joey Logano.
Here come all the playoff guys. Joey Logano did not show a ton of speed in practice as far as one lap, but if you look at his average speed, certainly in my eyes, one of the best cars.
22.
And so far, pretty fast down the back straightaway.
Well, won the first race of the first round.
Lloyd
trying
says,
to
I
match
like
the
Diffie
feed
now. He
here
still
this
doesn't
weekend.
understand some stuff, but he's getting there.
This will be a great start.
One wise guy, you know me, Denny, but it's going to be
Told you
Toyota
earlier,
for
qualifying
sure.
here can be sketchy, to be honest, but have a look at that. Quickest time of the day so far, 30.132.
Look at Joey Logano. Michael, thank you for
Logano to the top.
subscribing.
So as fast as
Logano,
that is,
P1.
lock him into the top 5. There's so many good teams that are let to
All
go.
right, let's see what these playoff drivers
This being
can
one of
do.
them. Austin Cindric, one of the best qualifiers in this sport, in my opinion.
I like Logano and Busch to be locked in. A 13 and a 15, I think, gets you there. I'm not sure about Wallace's 29.
Car enthusiast, good to
on
see.
the
I mean,
line
he didn't
for
beat
Austin
much.
Cindric. Look at it. It was green. It's gone to the red. 5,000, 7,000. There's nothing in it. It's back to green.
Can Cindric get in there?
Can he push his way in there and push Martin Truex Jr. out? Yes,
He
is
does.
the answer.
Cindric.
But that's going to be a
top
delicate
5.
position to be in. With the likes of Briscoe, Blaney,
All
Bell,
right,
and Larson
Briscoe,
to come.
Blaney,
Here's Chase.
Christopher
Big
Bell,
lap
and
for
Larson
Chase
left.
Briscoe.
Here comes
Struggled in
Briscoe.
practice, did not have pace.
Told Kim earlier he's putting everything else out of his mind. The birth of the twins. Impending, I should say. Thinking about wife Marissa. There's lots going
Briscoe.
on. Change of the pit crew. but he's doing what he does best at the
Hitting
moment.
that
He's
like
a
button,
tenth of
y'all,
a
trying to
second
get to
up.
400 likes
Austin
now.
Cindric.
400 likes
lap.
with 1,300 of us
It's not going to be
here.
the pole or anything like that. I don't even know it's going to make him in the top 5.
Keep hitting that subscribe.
It's going to be close, but with what they had in practice versus that lap, that is what I talked about earlier. When you're struggling in these playoffs, you got to find a way to answer. You got to find a way to take a bad situation and make it good. Huge lap for that team.
To go P3, and he guarantees himself a spot in the top 5. What about this man, the reigning series champion?
Ryan Blaney,
Ryan
any 12
Blaney.
fans?
He's had some bad luck, like Watkins Glen you can point to most recently, but he is resilient, and he is hanging in there. He's in the round of 12 with a shot to defend that NASCAR Cup Series title. And here is the Worth Ford for Team Penske. All green,
Blaney
looking good. And Ryan Blaney goes to position number 3. Leapfrogs Chase Briscoe.
And with
Zane
2 to go,
Smith
that
gets
will
knocked out.
assure the 12 team another chance. He'll run again in the second round. Now Bell and Larson.
Trying to get 3 poles in a row at this racetrack. Now that's not
All right, here's Christopher Bell, my pick to win this week.
But he can give himself a shot at it.
That's
Got
funny.
quiet his hands
He's a
off.
Logano fan when Logano wins, he's a Joey fan. Come on, Christopher
That's
Bell.
a lot of throttle.
Oh, you think? We're looking at a sub 30-second lap here.
Wow. Wow. Christopher Bell to the
Going
line.
down.
Bubba Wallace knows he's out, and Bell to the top with almost
won.
an even 30-second lap.
All right, and it's Larson to see if he
And
gets
now
in the
that
top
puts Chase
5.
Briscoe on the bubble. Kyle Busch will be the only non-playoff driver from this second group, as the final driver is on track, the number 1 ranked driver coming into this round of 12. Last weekend's winner, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, in the red. I mean, it's taking an unbelievable lap. Takes a 21, but I would have thought the 5 would have been a little closer.
Chase Briscoe is going to lock himself into the top 5.
He does. 6th for Larson.
Wow.
So Briscoe,
Shocker.
yes, the team will just be telling him, you're in. You've done it. Well done.
So there he goes. Bell, Logano, Busch, Blaney, Briscoe.
And so just 1 non-playoff driver per group. Ty Gibbs from Group 1, Kyle Busch from Group 2.
So there you
Well,
go,
let's
your
hear from
top
the man
5.
himself. Here he is, his
the
Ty.
6 through
Lee, you
19
mentioned
will be
2
on the
non-playoff
outside
drivers
row,
making
and
it.
here's Ty
Gibbs was the
Gibbs.
guy in the first round. What's it going to take to make the pole here as we look into the second round?
Yeah, definitely got to pick it up, but you know, I feel like we're really fast. We got a good Monster Energy Toyota Camry, so we're definitely really close, and hopefully we can go get this pole. I feel like my car's handling really well, and hopefully make the right adjustments. I think we will, and go out there and get it.
What makes Kansas unique to other mile and a halves?
I think it's just big enough where you can pass and you can race. I feel like it's a great racing track. There's multiple different lines, and I think that's what makes it really fun. I mean, some of these places are really narrow. It's really hard to pass and really hard to get by people. So this place is great. I've always loved this track, and it's a really special track, and it's a fun place.
I know you guys wish you were still in the playoffs, but as you look at the next 7 races, what are you hoping to accomplish before the end of 2024?
Well, there's 7 of them, so I'd like to win all 7. But you know, I feel like we're solid at these tracks coming up, and we're going to try to make the best of it. We've got a good piece this weekend. We'll hopefully go out there and win it.
We'll see what Ty can do when qualifying resumes for the top 10 to set the first 5 rows of this grid for tomorrow. So we come into tomorrow with a lot of excitement when you look at the last time the
David,
NASCAR
that's
Cup
funny.
Series was here at Kansas.
No, I'm not. All right, appreciate you. We're going into the Group A, Round 2. The best 10 drivers going after the pole for tomorrow. The screen will reset here in just a moment. I'm going to put in the pin message the race coming up here this afternoon for the Xfinity race, the Kansas Lottery 300. We'd love for you to join us. We will actually have cams. We'll have driver cam, aerial cam, and battle cam for you guys. So make sure you are hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe. And let me get that going right now. And we'd love for you. And then if you don't want to click on that link, this will this will take you to the new race here in just a little bit. So thank you guys so much for all the love today. Appreciate it. And let's see here. No, I don't want to do that one. This one here. Appreciate all the love today, guys. There's already 6 of y'all waiting over there. Share, copy. All right. Join us for the Xfinity Series race this afternoon. All right, here's Kyle Busch.
Yes. It's not that hard, but, you know, just being able to get the car perfect is probably the hardest part, you know, and having the right balance. I mean, it's so close and so technical, and everything is so much just tight that
that's all good, DJ.
Having the perfect balance will be able to provide you with a really good lap. So our car was really good. The MGM Camaro, that MGM Camaro was fast right there, and shocked me on the speed that it ran, but pleasantly surprised by that to move us on to the next round.
You've talked often
who do you
about
think's
how
going to
at
be in the
beginning of
top
your career, something
poll
about
here?
Kansas just didn't click, and I think it was like 2014. You said the light bulb went on. For a driver, what's that light bulb here?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Just the biggest thing is building confidence in a place, but yet having a good race car to be able to do that with, you know. So always swatting flies and coming here and not having a good driving car, or just feeling like you're lost, definitely makes it challenging.
As you look at the next 7 races, I know the goal is to win and keep that winning streak, that consecutive winning streak continuous. What's the best opportunity over the next 7 weeks?
I would say here in Vegas, possibly Talladega. You know, there's some good races. The Roval have been pretty good the last few years, but it's just about putting it all together and having a great race, and you know, having good pit stops, good restarts, all that stuff. It comes together. So our biggest thing right now is just trying to compete against the rest of these top dogs that are in the playoffs, that have really, really fast race cars that we're going up against, that they're racing for a championship, we're racing for a win. So it's going to be hard no matter what, and that's what this sport is.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool.
We're going to give them a fight and give it hell.
That's pretty neat.
And it was great
point
to hear
there, Mark.
Ask
very observant
Kyle about that win, right? And if it's going to continue.
All right, I'm going to go Bell. Christopher Bell for the win, the pole, and I'm taking him for the win tomorrow.
Let's not forget, wasn't that long ago? It was at Daytona.
DraftKings says Logano.
Harrison Burton to the line, and the following week he chased Briscoe to the line in Darlington.
11, 20, 22, and the 24.
I wanted to see what racetrack he thought was his best chance, because I wasn't sure that any of them were really bad. You know, I think Kyle can win everywhere we go.
Yeah, I'll do a vlog on it.
Maybe not the equipment every time, but I mean, I don't know, Jeff. Is there a track that you don't think he has a chance?
No, look, we talked about RCR. They've stepped their game up, and we talked about he having those chances to win. We'll go back and think about Austin Dillon at Richmond.
Yeah.
Dominated that race. Toward the end, that last third of that race, had the best race car. So they're making positive adjustments. Kyle Busch talked a lot right there about needing fast race cars. RCR is getting
William
better.
Byron, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, Tyler Reddick in Group A.
A lot of yellow playoff drivers going to start in the front of this race.
And the 2 in white, Ty Gibbs and the man we just heard from, the only non-playoff drivers. So they're
Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Ryan
Blaney,
Blaney, Chase Briscoe.
They're going out for
B.
the big W tomorrow, so we'll see how that shapes up when qualifying resumes. They're starting to roll the cars out there now, and the first 5 cars are already in line as we get almost set for the final phase of qualifying here at Kansas Speedway on a beautiful day in the heartland. There's a breeze. Maybe you can call it a wind sometimes. Gusts of wind.
You're picking Larson to win and Christopher Bell second?
Sunny day here before we get going again.
Let's
hear from the reigning series champion.
Yeah, that would be Ryan Blaney. And we know the emphasis put on qualifying and starting in the top 10, not only stage points, but restarts here at Kansas are crazy. How big of a difference is it restarting in the top 10 versus outside the top 10?
Yeah, it's definitely less wild. It still is, though. I mean, if you're restarting, 5th to 10th is pretty crazy. You have to protect or be aggressive. But,
Blaney's beard looks kind of awful.
You restart mid-20s, it's a hornet's nest. So, but overall, yeah, pretty decent day. I feel like Ford Mustang's pretty good. Appreciate the Worth Group for being on our car again 2 weeks in a row. And qualifying lap here is usually don't qualify very good here, but luckily we were able to have a good lap. I was really happy with my car in practice, like long run. I felt pretty good. So
I have to be in
it's definitely more beneficial a long run car when you qualify up towards the front too. you don't have to pass as many guys, and you can use that advantage a little bit better. So, yeah, it's a wild restart track, but that's what makes it exciting, and it's nice that we had a good lap. Hopefully we can get a little better here in the second round.
As you look at these 3 races, Kansas, Talladega, Roval, rank them best to not as best for you and this team.
I love all of them.
There you go. Excited to see what Ryan Blaney can do in the round of 12.
That's the right answer, right, Steve? As a champion,
you got to. Even if
Keeping
you're
that
just trying to
subscribe,
convince
keeping
yourself,
that like. We're trying to
no
get
reason to put any doubt in there.
400
Sometimes
likes
you have to
now.
fake it.
400 likes.
Yeah.
Help us get to 400 likes.
Is that you this afternoon playing pickleball?
Oh yeah, that's where Diff's going to be.
They got a pickleball court.
Xfinity race. You going to play some pickleball?
I can't with my dodgy knee.
Your what?
My dodgy knee. Once I
You
get
have
that
to translate that for us. What is a dodgy knee?
bad knee.
Okay, there you go. That's all I was looking for.
Once
they had a Hemi in that thing.
Yeah, right. Once I get that fixed in November, I'll be good to go back out on the pickleball court. So we're talking playoffs, and we're now getting into the meat of it, aren't we? After the round of 16, we've determined the round of 12,
here,
and
DJ.
we're almost ready to go.
No, but I have Fubo as well. All right. It is the top 10. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez. One of these guys is going to be on the pole tomorrow for the Hollywood Casino 400. Who's it going to be? I got Christopher Bell. Some of you all have already expressed Joey Logano. Some have said Denny Hamlin. Who else do you guys got? CeeLo had the best live streams possible, y'all. Come enjoy with us. Thank you, buddy. Dislike going Rowdy. Wouldn't that be nice? Have Rowdy on the pole. Larson's in a race trim. Give him 20 laps tomorrow and he'll be leading. Richard says, that's what I was thinking as well. Lloyd says, well, Larson's not on the pole. Won't be on the pole. Pastelneck says the 45. Ricky says the 22 or the 20. Slick Rick, thanks again for the super chat, says Kyle Busch. DraftKings says 22. CeeLo is 2 hours behind. Oh, okay. Patrick says Bell. Bowman is going to be starting 12th for tomorrow's race. What up? What is this? Kind of late. What is up? Kind of late. What's up, Brendan Dial? Chase Elliott to the 9. Well, he's not going to be. He is not in the eligible for the pole. Maybe the 45, the 11 for accept.
So close throughout the
William
field,
on the pole. We'll see.
A few points could make the
Ty
difference.
Gibbs wins tomorrow, or Bubba Wallace.
It's been national
Lawson,
and international
6th.
headlines about
He'll actually start
the
11th.
effects of Hurricane Helene. And if you are in a position and would like to help those affected by Helene, you can go to redcross.org or text Helene to 90999. And for everybody in the states, in the Gulf states, in the panhandle of Florida, and in the Carolinas, I mean, it was very far.
Joshua said Ty Gibbs ain't winning.
And the impact has affected millions and millions of people. And for you two guys, I mean, we used to live down the road from each other in the Charlotte area. North Carolina has been heavily hit. And so I know that, it's happened in your backyard. And our thoughts are with everybody affected. And again, folks, if you're in a position where you can make a donation and you are able to help, head to redcross.org or text Helene to 90999.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, here we go.
All right, qualifying, final round.
Tyler
Let's
Reddick.
go. The top 5 from each of the groups. They're about to fight it out, and this
Brendan
man
Dow
here
says
is
he ain't winning
motivated
not a
to
bit.
shake off Bristol. He did the best he could. It wasn't what they wanted. Tyler Reddick, the regular season champ,
Well, that's
wants
good,
to
Brendan.
be a NASCAR Cup Series champion, and this weekend will form part of what that picture
Tyler
looks like,
Reddick.
and so too will this qualifying.
Just how close competition is any more. Qualifying obviously matters, but the pole position here at Kansas, less than 30 feet from the front of pit stall 1 to the camera at a track where you will be changing tires almost every yellow. It's going to be a huge advantage if you can have that
Marty
pit stall.
says 24 for the pole.
Needs to get some positive momentum. Only 2 top 10s in the last 5 races. You hear him playing with that gas just a little bit. Car's going to drive differently from this run to the last run.
All right, time's posted.
11 for the pole, Lloyd.
30.2 for Tyler
All right,
Reddick.
Tyler Reddick sets
Keep in mind,
the bar.
Christopher Bell's 30.04.
Who passes it? We'll see. Here comes
That'll
Suarez.
give you some comparison. Here's Daniel Suarez. He told Kim that he was doing everything that he had to. But it's been a positive start to this Kansas weekend. Jeff, it's close.
Suarez.
500s, 600s.
You see his hands? Just like his car is just a little tighter than he wants it to be. He's not able to have the pace. So Reddick
TJ says looking for the 11 to be in that top spot.
The first run.
So the 2311 Toyota sets the pace over the Trackhouse Chevy. Suarez did what he could. Just over a 1/10 of a second off. Here's Denny Hamlin.
Denny!
After the, if you want to do it in air quotes, the scare of the opening round of the playoffs, it's now back to regular business for the driver of the FedEx Toyota.
And this will already be a much better start than round one. Remember, he was the playoff driver with engine issues at Atlanta, had to start at the back. Here he is battling for a spot somewhere inside the top 10.
I think we could so easily have been talking about Hamlin on the outside looking in, no longer in the round of 12. It's not the case. He's in, he's got a shot, but he won't be able to match fellow Toyota driver Reddick. Tyler stays on top.
You mentioned it, Jeff. Reddick picking up his speed, and remember,
Not
this is
fast
slowest
enough
to
that his
fastest
ball
yet.
is
Reddick,
his,
who was
employee.
fifth out of this group, has now surpassed two
Denny
other
ham
drivers.
sandwich. Here you go, Ty Gibbs.
How about Ty Gibbs? You heard his interview. He really liked the car. Thought they might have to make an adjustment or two. Sounded confident, like he knew what the car needed.
And nothing to lose. They're out of the playoffs. Now just go try to win races at good speed through the middle and exit of 2.
Oh, I like what this car looks like, too. It gains pace on exit. Like he's not overdriving the entry, really letting the car settle.
It's not going to be by much, but it's going to be enough. Ty Gibbs on top.
Ty Gibbs.
He did what he said he was going to.
I don't think there's enough appreciation for the job Ty Gibbs has done in his short Cup Series.
Toyota, man. That's why I said in my preview vlog. Toyota. Here comes Willie B.
Yeah.
Here's William Byron. He was pretty swift in the opening phase of qualifying. He's in the green nice and early, but it's gone to red.
Looked a little shallower on entry into one. Obviously, there's a reason, something in the car that William thought he had to be there, and it hurt the exit speed. See if he has to do the same
4,
down here.
And then I got another one here, 5.
That looked a little bit more normal. Result
Wayne
the same,
Bush going through. He was supposed to go first. He's in Group B.
He's on the wrong side of it here.
These are Group A drivers.
Off. Gibbs will stay in that prime spot for now.
All right, now it's Group B.
That Group B, though, had so much raw speed. I don't know if, I mean, I can't imagine the track's getting better, right? I mean, the wind's picking
Group
up,
B.
the sun's up in the sky. You know, my racing sense would say it should be slowing down,
It's
but
gaming time,
second
Denny
group,
said.
Jeff,
Denny.
just overall had more speed.
Yeah, well, here they're getting ready to roll.
All right, let's see who goes.
Kim.
And currently, Tyler Reddick sits row number 2 after that qualifying effort. Early in today's media session, you had talked about how the first round was not good for this team. Based on what we've seen here today from you and the team, do you feel like you've turned a page and you're already on a better foot starting this round?
I'm not sure. You know, practice was a bit of a struggle again for us, but I thought we made some good adjustments. And honestly, we were going to have to go quite a ways. I felt like to get the pace out of it, we needed to in qualifying. And honestly, it wasn't the greatest lap in round 1 for us, but you know, we had some good fortune through others' misfortune with the 9 engine issue. So that allowed us to snake in to round 2, and then from there, I mean, I maybe could have ran a 15 if I had it hit everything perfect. But to go from being where we were in practice to barely making it into round 2 to being second in Group A, I'll definitely take it.
With the record that 2311 has here and how good this team is at Kansas Speedway, does that make it easier to determine what you need out of the car and what you need to do on the racetrack to win?
To some extent, you know, this car is going to drive a little different with the right side shark fin, but it's still Kansas. The tire,
Yeah, I can, Rick.
we've
One
got
day.
a good bit of experience on it now, and we were really good at Michigan and Charlotte early in the year. So I know that if we keep working on this balance,
this is
I think we can
tomorrow,
make this,
Scotty.
DraftKings Camry up, and once we do, we'll have some really solid pace.
I think this is an important weekend for Tyler Reddick. When you think about Kansas running the top, his name continues to come up in the conversations. No, I mean, he won at Talladega, so of course he can do it, and he's great at the road courses, so it can't be the Roval. So I don't know if this race is the key moment for Reddick as far as getting out of the round of 12, but much like last week for Larson's name to then be at the top of the conversation about Championship 4 and momentum on all of those conversations, for Reddick, I think he doesn't have to win here, but he has to contend. I want him up there in the battle.
Well, I come here as a driver thinking I need a really good weekend this weekend because the next 2 races after this.
All right, Chase Briscoe, Group B, here we go.
My chances are pretty high I'm going to get in a wreck, and then I got the Roval. And that's 2 incredibly difficult racetracks. So the pressure starts right now because now you got the 12 best. Competition is going to be the best, hardest it's ever been, and this round of racetracks is exceptionally challenging.
Man on track here in the Mahindra Tractors Ford, Chase Briscoe. Think about his journey to this point.
18
got caught up in that crash with Kyle Larson in
Group
Atlanta.
A, 19
had to be
was
playing
Group B.
catch up. He said, "Don't worry.
Now we're just in
good
Group
shape." And the
2,
last 2
round
races,
2 of the
he
best
did. He
of
showed
the
his
5
resilience and his
one.
speed and his determination, and that was emblematic
Here comes
of
Briscoe.
his qualifying run. In the first round, he hung tough. He got that 5th and final position and withstood the challenge from Kyle Larson. That's what puts him here in this final phase of qualifying.
Had a big moment in 1 and 2. I couldn't tell what the handling issue was. I could just tell that the speed went away from the race car.
It's all right, Scotty.
He almost got
trying to get to 400 likes before this is over. Can you get us to 400 likes? 1,400 of us here. Should be no issue. And Briscoe
will be pushed down the order with each and every car.
See, this is dumb.
4 to go.
They got Briscoe on the outside line, even though he's slower than everybody.
This driver
That's
is
dumb.
certainly one to watch tomorrow. You look, he spoke about it.
They got Briscoe on the outside of row 1, but he's slower than the last 4 drivers in Group A.
Center of 1 and 2 that Ty Gibbs has.
Dumb.
Going in this race tomorrow, this is my favorite to win it.
Clock says red by just over 1/10 of a second. And that margin's growing.
He's not in Cup this
you
weekend,
ask yourself,
Mike.
This group had more speed when it was their turn, but did those faster laps hurt the Goodyear tires more? Did it take some more life out of it? Or
Blaney,
was it, these tracks
he
are
is
very
slower
temperamental? Was it a
than
little bit of cloud
Reddick,
cover or track
Byron,
temperature?
or
Why did this
Hamlin,
group
and
stand
he's
out?
now on the outside
So far,
row.
no one has been able to top Gibbs.
Is Kyle Busch.
There's Rowdy.
It's a non-playoff driver that has the
Susan?
provisional pole. The only other non-playoff driver is on track right
likes.
now.
You're awesome.
Well, it wasn't lack of commitment from Kyle Busch. He got in the corner with a
Can we
lot
do
of speed.
500?
Just wasn't able.
There's a challenge for
to
you.
continue
500
that speed
likes.
through the corner.
What I've learned comparing everyone to Ty Gibbs is Gibbs really got through the middle of 1 and 2.
Let's go, Rowdy.
'Cause that's where everybody starts to flash into the red.
This is going to be super close.
Good lap.
Really good lap from Kyle Busch.
So Kyle Busch outside pole.
Drivers.
I know.
Even though
Holding down
he's
the
slower
provisional front
than
row. Joey
Tyler
Logano
Reddick.
and the Shell Pennzoil Ford on track.
This car in the first round of qualifying wasn't easy to drive, but it looked easy. Like the car just went everywhere Logano wanted
Here
it
goes
to go.
Logano.
We'll see if it has that same look here.
You know what's crazy is look at the clock going backwards, but he was in the gas like really early, and it still started going the wrong way.
Tenth and a half out.
I agree with you. Just go back to normal. This Group
And
A,
it's
Group
trending
B
the wrong
stuff.
way for Joey.
Thank you, Shanigan. Thank you.
As he puts himself on the board with 1 driver to go. 1 car left on track.
Well, if your guy's Blaney,
it doesn't
I think
happen
this is
overnight,
the car
Rick.
I have circled for
All right,
tomorrow.
here's Christopher Bell.
Overlooked at times, perhaps
Christopher
underappreciated
Bell.
at times.
Thank you, Mike.
But finds a way in the moment to make it happen.
In the green nice and early for the Ream Toyota of Christopher Bell. It's flipped the other way. It's in the red, but not by much. Trying for 3 consecutive pole positions here at Kansas Speedway. And the time's coming back. It's in the green. Nothing in it. You're talking hundredths of a second. Christopher Bell trending the right way. Does he get the hat trick? He sure does. 3 in a row.
Good job.
For Christopher Bell. The last to do that here at
took a
Kansas
while,
was
buddy.
Kevin Harvick. So Bell, the
Entertainment's
number 2
all they
senior
care about,
driver
Josh
coming
will
into
say.
this round of 12, gives himself the best possible opportunity to win nice and early.
Christopher Bell, what a great lap.
So Bell, Gibbs,
consistently qualifies in the front on a weekly
Kyle
basis.
Busch, Reddick.
But now you got to go and you got to execute in this race, and this is one of the most difficult
Logano,
races
Byron.
of the year.
So they got Logano in row 3, and here they have him in 8th place.
Fantastic effort. Final car to come out on track.
Christopher
and
Bell,
grabs the
baby.
pole.
Domination.
And that's his second of this season. Only guy to get 2 top 5s in the first round of the playoffs. Just continues his quiet
Ringing that
but
bell.
strong and forceful path through these 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
We met with all 16 playoff drivers before they started, and there was something about Bell, his confidence, and it wasn't arrogance. It was, he just told us, what do you say, Diff? I like every part of our team. Pit crew, chassis, what the engineering group's doing, his relationship
He
with his
really
crew
should have
chief,
won the
his
championship
spotter.
last year.
You know, he wasn't
But
bragging.
he hit
just
had those brake
didn't really
issues,
have a
remember,
glaring
in
weakness
Phoenix?
he thought he could point out.
So we're a good team. All round, we're a good team.
Sure
He
enough,
almost was
qualifying.
under
His
30
qualifying is
there,
unbelievable.
Ronnie,
Man.
like you called.
Let's join Kim.
Yeah, and
Here's
Kyle Busch
Christopher
walking by
Bell.
gives him a nice on that qualifying effort. Christopher Bell, 3rd time in a row, he'll lead the field to green at Kansas. What kind of statement did you make with that lap to the rest of the playoff field?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's the people that work on this race car that made the statement. And today we showed up with probably our best Kansas car we've ever had. It's always been a great track for us to
Larson
qualify
said
at,
Bell's
and it
better
seems
than
like
me.
whenever we go race, we're always like that, I don't know, 3rd to 7th range. And today it was different. It felt really, really good in practice. I felt really comfortable driving the car. And then they were able to duplicate the qualifying balance.
You gave accolades to the team about how good the car was. Tomorrow, behind the wheel, what do you have to do as a driver to keep that track position from start to finish?
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing about Kansas is just managing the balance. This place, with these cars, it swings really, really bad. You'll start off really comfortable, and depending on how your car is, you might go really tight, you might go really loose. Typically, the fast lane is up top, but then you have to really adjust your line to what your balance is doing. So I got to drive a little bit better here tomorrow than I have at the previous Kansas races, but I definitely have the car to do it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job by Christopher Bell and this team to lead the field to green in tomorrow's race.
All right, there you go. Christopher Bell with the win. So Christopher Bell will, with the win, the pole. And Ty Gibbs will be on the outside. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch. Now, they have Logano in row 3 on NBC. But looks like it's at 2:30. Okay, we're cool. So we're going to be on in about 30 minutes for the CW. We'll have that live for you guys on. We'll have the cameras, all that good stuff in about 30 minutes. The pin message above, so you have that. And if you don't want to click on that link, this will transport you over to the Xfinity race, and you'll be ready to go. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today for our NASCAR Cup Series and practice and qualifying for the Hollywood Casino 400. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you had a good time. And we had a good little crowd, about 1,400 people in here. So we will see you on the go at CeeLo is our and that's in the description below as well. If someone could drop that link in there, that'd be awesome. What channel is qualifying on? It was on NBC Sports app, so you won't be able to watch it. But excited to watch this race. Thank you for streaming. You're welcome, TJ. We'll be back here in about 30 minutes. I'm going to get it all reset and fire up old YouTube TV, and let's try it out. Let's see how it goes. Hope you guys had a great time. I want to thank my lovely wife, Spain, for all the lovely wife things that she does. I want to thank my mods for moderating. I want to thank my members for giving their hard-earned money back, and I want to thank you for watching. If it wasn't for you, there would be no CeeLo. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you in about 30 minutes for pre-race coverage of the Kansas Lottery 300. We will see you soon, and thank you guys for watching tonight. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Have a good day. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. If you don't like Xfinity Racing, we'll see you tomorrow. If you don't like that, we'll be doing Braves tonight, right after the Xfinity race. So, triple header on the go at CeeLo today. Are you joining me for the rest of the day? Stay tuned. We're going to have a good time. Until then, peace out, guys. We'll see you either in about 30 minutes, or at the Braves game, or tomorrow for the Hollywood Casino 400. Peace out. Love ya.